Hey, welcome to SkyTour LiveStream. This is Mark D'Antonio as usual, with special guest Keith Hickes from P&K Science.
Heyo!
Heyo! We are here tonight for no specific reason other than to just bring you complete and utter chaos in the night sky. We're going to do some wonderful drifting tonight among the stars. We're going to check out some really cool clusters, a few nebulae, part of the winter sky. And of course, we're doing it all from the safety and convenient warm location inside the SkyTour LiveStream bunker, so to speak. And we'll have fun with that. So we have our telescope control over here. We have the dome operations over here. We have the dome cam number 1 here. Dome cam 2 is offline. And other than that, we have plenty of things to see tonight. And so I hope to bring you some really cool stuff. And I think we can start off right away. This particular star right here, I'll show you where we are. We are over in Orion. And this is Mintaka. It is, Alnitak. It's actually the leftmost star in the belt, Orion. And we are right near what we call a Flame Nebula. So we're going to back out of that and we're going to go see the Flame Nebula right now. So here's how that works. We're going to take a picture. See, we don't waste any time, right? Our telescope is actually settled down. We don't have any movement.
We're just going to go ahead and dive right in there, aren't we?
We are. Why not?
Why not?
Sure. Why not? It's almost 11 o'clock.
No dipping the toes, head first.
Hell yes. And you know what? If we can stick around long enough, I'm not sure, we do have some clouds coming, but if we can stick around long enough, then we might be able to get into the constellation of Leo and see some of the galaxies there. I uploaded on SkyTour LiveStream Facebook site. I uploaded some photos we took the other night. It was a beautiful planetary nebula, a remnant of a dying star, beautiful blue color. It's called the Crystal Ball Nebula, NGC 1999, and then we had two of the three Leo triplets, M65 and 66, which looked really pretty. And then we had a northern Trifid, it's called, it like the summertime Trifid we know about. You have the Lagoon Nebula. It's north of the Lagoon Nebula. You have this Trifid Nebula. Well, we did the northern Trifid, which is one that's literally almost at the zenith here, looking straight up. And right at the moment when I took the picture. And it's really pretty. And it was called a Trifid because it has 3 separate lobes that are separated by dark lanes. It's really pretty. Okay. So this is Alnitak, and you can see the processing of the noise going away right there. That little algorithm.
Just a big old class O star just sitting there.
Yeah, and now you see this. This is actually Flame Nebula. Let's actually add a little processing to that, shall we? Okay, so there's a little processing, and we can actually probably do a little better than that.
And while Mark is doing that, I want to thank D. Smith. The camera, don't worry, Paul has another one up and running. He's testing right now. I'm actually watching him on a different computer. But yeah, thanks for the condolences.
Oh, was she, D, were you on? I guess D was on when...
Well, D. Smith was on. I think James was over there, too, when that happened. But we were like, oh, no.
So you must have seen, like, white and then static and then...
Yeah, it was like white and all of a sudden it went to no signal. We were like, oh, no.
Oh, man. I know what
Back
that's
to
like. I know what that's like. And to be honest with you, for those that, just joining us, I know that when a camera falls, it makes your heart sink because you think that, you think the world's coming to an end, basically, because when I dropped this very camera that we're imaging here, this camera fell off a table, landed on a floor that had a foam pad on it, foam padding for flooring, and then bounced and continued to bounce, like bam, smash, crunch, bam, smash, crunch, and it wouldn't stop, and I was like, stop, and I'm chasing it down. And when I finally picked it up, it seemed like it had been totally destroyed. And I could hear things, when he shook it, it went, I was like, oh no, my camera's broken. The camera was thousands of dollars. Well, it turned out that what was loose was just the front end barrel. When I tightened it, it was fine. It's like, oh man. I dodged a big bullet.
By the way, we have people asking if the music can go down some because they're having trouble hearing us.
Yeah, well, that's probably just you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, the music was a little high. Sorry.
My bad.
No, that's fine. And I can increase our volume too. So now we're up 2. We're up. The music is down a little. Not a problem.
Yeah, let us know if that works for you.
I'm thinking this will probably work because it's way down. So, yeah, there's a flame nebula here that we're looking at right there. And I use the flame as a little guide as to how good the night is. And here's what's interesting. My voice was here right until I streamed. As soon as I started to stream, my voice started to go. Can you believe that?
That's how it goes, right?
Isn't that true?
Everything happens when you decide to stream.
That's right.
Decide to go live, and next thing you know, there's clouds that weren't even in the area.
Yeah.
Just happens.
Yeah, it's true.
Happens when you buy a new telescope, too. Buy a new telescope, you can almost guarantee there's going to be at least 2 weeks of clouds.
Yeah, when I got the camera to do this, actually, when I got the observatory installed and built, okay, telescope was installed, and I couldn't wait for first light so that I could align it.
Yep.
And there was like a month of rain. I was like, come on. Can you believe it? It's like, it's like it's looking down and you going, ha, 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 ha. We'll show you. You are not in control. And yeah, and that's what happens, see? Absolutely crazy stuff. So yes, we don't like it, but that's what happens sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yes, sirree.
It's just a given at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. For absolutely sure.
Seems legit.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, and hello to David Schmidt who popped in.
Hey, Dave. How you doing? Thanks for looking at the chat there, Keith. I'm gonna bring it up here in a second. I haven't.
I'm gonna be your Amanda tonight.
Yeah.
I don't have that sexy of a voice, but I'm gonna try.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. I totally appreciate that.
You can call me Amander if you want to, just to make you feel comfortable.
How about no? Yeah,
we got Amanda and Amander.
Yeah, Amanda and Amanda. Yeah. No, but hey, welcome, folks. Thanks for dropping by and checking us out. And I'm working on a concept that's going to be sort of a new concept for bringing astronomy to the masses. And Keith's interested in working with me on it. Part of the reason he's here tonight, I would think, because we've been talking about this a little bit. And I think that, thanks, David, for wishing my voice back to normal. Thank you. We're toying with a mobile observatory system that's going to be able to go around the country. And I think it's going to work. And I think
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
If because as anything, the funding has to be there. So if the funding can get secured, that would be like the biggest hurdle. Besides that, I mean, you have, a couple guys with enough time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing nothing. You can send me with a mobile observatory in the middle of Kansas for a month. I'm not gonna mind.
Well, not a month, but see, most of the places I expect to go are college campuses. And
even better. Now we're talking.
Well, no, that's from
Mark will be doing work. Keith's over there smashing in the frat house.
Keith will be like, pounding down, kegs at the party animals over at the Delta Kappa Epsilon frat, and I'll be teaching astronomy at the literary frat or something. I don't
Keith,
know.
What are you doing? I'm making friends, man.
Yeah. Keith's gonna have a lot of. And Keith comes over and says, "Hey, do you mind if these guys tag along with us for the next 150 miles?" Okay.
Oh man, be like a big old road trip.
You're right.
Astronomy road trip with a frat house.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I laugh and I joke, but the fact is, I think that the college kids are hungry for knowledge too.
Yeah, especially astronomy, like big astronomy colleges, because there are a couple of them out there that are kind of in the middle of nowhere that actually really have really good astronomy programs.
They do. That's exactly right. And the other thing is, when we do our permanent installation out in Arizona, we're going to be able to offer the colleges in that state and around the country the ability to use time on our telescopes. Because we're trying to, and the idea is to actually have several telescopes that we maintain at all times, and add a spectrograph, if they need to do some work on a spectrograph, and that's obviously a system to look at the way the light breaks up from a star and break it into its component colors, which shows you what the star is made of if you look at it right. And want to do that stuff. We want to do a lot of other programs too. Meanwhile, At the same time, we're still working on the aerial anomaly detection system, which is our formerly known as UFOTOG 2. And that's the thing I'm working on with Douglas Trumbull. And we're still working on that as well. And the observatory serves as, like I said, a testing place for some of our technology. And this chip that we're using in our camera is actually probably the main chip that we're going to use from Sony in our other cameras. That's the idea. And we're going to be able to do some nice video and some really good still shots. And we're looking at it right here. This is an example. These you know, this is well, I'll show you. I mean, we look at this shot right here. This shot is really just a if you look, it's just it's a 20-second shot. 20 seconds. But it's 10,000 ISO. Now, if I increase this, say, to 16,000 ISO, okay, again, from 12,800, okay, or say 10,000, you go up one stop, that's called a stop, that's 12,800. You go up to 16,000, that's another stop. So that's 2 stops higher, okay? That means you're going to bring in the same amount of light that the telescope brings in for the same amount of seconds, but that the circuit, the sensor, is going to be sensitive by this much more. So now if we take a picture, you're going to see that the flame nebula is going to appear brighter and different. Now the whole background is going to be brighter too. And now it's a matter of your filters that you use to knock down the artificial light that's in there from, say, light pollution. There's very few places in the United States you can go where there's no light pollution. There's a few in Arizona, a number of them in Utah. But other than that, you're going to get stuck with light pollution, you know, one way or another. So here is the flame. This is the one we just took. And this is the one, I think, is it this one or this one? Okay, this one is one that we just took earlier. Or it might be probably this one. I have to look at the processing. So we come down here. We got this one first. You'll notice it's a little bit brighter. Now what we can do is when we go to our view, and then we actually do some processing, it'll end up looking like this. So it looks a little bit more defined. And I used
a little.
Yeah, a little more.
Jeez.
A little more.
A lot more.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. We can do some other processing here, and like again, if we play with some parameters, we might be able to show a little bit more detail. And that's the idea of processing, and that's what we do. And most of the things that I do with photos, I'll take, say, 25 photos like of this, and then I'll just stack them one on top of the other. And that stack is really important. That stack is how you actually bring out the signal. In other words, the faint nebulous tufts and the fine detail, that's the signal. The noise, of course, is all this stuff. What's the noise? I'll show you. If we just zoom in, okay, this is noise. This is all meaningless.
It's what you used to try to watch those pay-per-view channels through when you were younger.
Exactly so. Exactly so. And I used
to squibbly channels.
I remember watching a George Carlin show through that. But he's mostly, audio, okay, and it's an audio type show. But you watch him when he's doing some type of, when he's actually trying to do some type of routine. Sometimes his facial expressions are very important. So I'd struggle through this snow, we used to call it, to actually see what he was doing. And the star images, by the way, are a little bit bad here. So I have to go back and take this again just to try and improve on this. So let's do that. One more.
That star.
This one here?
Yeah.
That's on the top.
Yeah, that's like a 9.5, 9.3.
9.3, what do you mean?
Yeah.
An O?
No, that was just spectral type.
Okay, so it's an O, yeah. On the top, yeah, we can actually go take a look at that. That's a good call. So if we look here at Alnitak, okay, and let's select Alnitak. Okay, if you look down this list here, you'll see that the spectral type of Alnitak is given as an O9.5. So O's are the hottest, M's are the coolest, way at the other end of the spectrum, and If Amanda was here, she would tell you O, B, A, F, G, K, M. And O's being the hot. And 09.5 is actually close to B0. Okay, because B comes next. But there's something missing, okay? If you notice, it says 9.5 and then Roman numeral 1. That means giant. This is a supergiant star here. Right? Alnitak is a supergiant. So this when you have an O star that's that big and that massive, they mostly are, well then they're only going to live for a few 100 million years. So there's no possibility that they could ever foster planets and ever even have some type of life source around them, or foster life, because they have a lot of energy that's being given off in the ultraviolet range. And ultraviolet is bad for carbon-based life. So we can say at least that carbon-based life couldn't survive at Alnitak. Right. What other type of life? Well, I don't know. We look for life like us because carbon-based life is kind of a natural.
It's what we know.
It's exactly right. It's a natural outcome in our universe. Natural outcome. The Earth makes carbon-based compounds. The Earth had carbon-based compounds delivered to it. Lightning forms amino acids, carbon-based amino acids. The nucleotides are formed automatically by processes on the Earth. So we're kind of slanted toward creation of carbon-based life. And that's why when we look at an O star, it's so hot. What are O stars good for then? Well, they're good for creating elements in our periodic table, And so we see, for instance, they're mostly hydrogen gas, and they can actually make up to iron in their cores. However, the most massive ones. And then the rest of the elements come from a variety of other processes. From something called the S process, where neutrons are added into atoms to make them, heavier. But then those neutrons get converted to protons in this process, and thus they become heavier elements. This is part of the S process. There's also an R process. S means sort of slow, and R is kind of rapid. But also supernovae cause new elements to be formed, as well as not just supernovae, but merging neutron stars. When stars have reached the end of their life and they go supernova, they form neutron stars, sometimes a binary pair. If they end up merging, because of all the debris in that star system, slowing them down, causing them to decay in their orbits, they merge. That causes other things, like gold comes from merging neutron stars. Pretty much, that's the most strange outcome we ever found, is that gold is made that way. It's just cool, It's really cool. The universe is unlocking, is trying to hold its secrets, but we're trying to unlock them little by little. Hey, Ian, how you doing?
It's got a pretty tight grip on them.
It does, yeah. It does. So, Keith, what's going on, man? How's it going? Tell me about the infrared telescope. I want the infrared system. I want to know what's going on.
We broke it.
Okay, that's not what I wanted to hear.
No. Put it this way. Okay, Paul has sunk. It's probably around $5,000 at this point.
Yeah.
Ordering pieces from all around. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's piecing it together his own ways to get his own depth fields and all that stuff, because his goal is, from what he tells me, is to be able to see, galaxies and whatnot very clearly without a lot of noise ratio.
Yep.
And when you get into the infrared and you get into the I'm trying to think of the word. I'm blanking right here for the moment, but you get a lot of noise inside the imaging, and that's what he's trying to get rid of.
Okay.
And it's not only for the actual sky cam, but it's for when he zooms as well.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to constantly focus.
Okay.
And we had that for a little bit tonight, where he was able to zoom and not have to refocus it and pull back to the complete sky wide field.
Okay.
And it looked pretty good. So yeah, he's still working on it, waiting on some parts to come from the UK. I think he said they come tomorrow morning.
That's good.
So yeah, that's what we're waiting on. As soon as we get it perfect and we beta test it, then we'll be good.
Okay. So now you're actually and this is an infrared camera as opposed to a low light camera, like an ambient light, low light intensifier type system.
Yeah, intensifier. That's what the word I was looking for. It's a combination.
Okay.
So there's not just the infrared. There's not just the intensifier. It's like you have to get that perfect, which is why he's spent so much money doing this, ordering parts, ordering tubes for focal lengths, and just all around crazy stuff. And he said he was going to do that this year, and I've been really surprised how much he's actually spent doing it. Because once again, Paul's a perfectionist. As you can tell from the moon stuff.
Yeah, he is.
So he wants to get it absolutely right.
Well, I just want to mention, the P&K science has come a long way. It's not just looking at the moon anymore. And, just like SkyTour LiveStream, it's now heading down the path of doing some real science. And that's something that I think is a real critical thing. It's a wonderful thing, actually. And so I just want to tell you, my hat's off to you for doing that. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, we both pretty much have the same end goal,
Yeah.
So we don't mind putting that time in, and it's almost like you have to set that time aside, in order to do the work.
Yes.
Is you can sit there all day and be on the internet and telling people, debunking UFOs or, debunking moon things, but unless you're actually doing the work yourself, you really don't have room to talk. Which is why I try not to go in too hard on Bruce, because he does, he's doing the work. Yeah,
he's doing a service. We're talking, folks, about Bruce Sees All. It's another channel. Now, neither Keith or I much believe anything that Bruce says, because Bruce doesn't have an astronomical background beyond just looking at stuff and wondering what it is, and that's actually wonderful. I actually admire that. But he has the courage to actually stream it and say what he feels, even if, in my view, it may not be correct. But I think that he's doing that in an honest manner. He's honestly not understanding, but I think that's the first step. People have to be willing to face their own.
But here's the thing about Bruce too. I think if we were to present him with evidence, showing him, like recreating, I think that he would rethink, because I think he's that type of person. Like he's like, okay, maybe that explains a lot of this stuff I thought was this, but now I think I know it's this. I think he seems like that type of person anyway. So, you never know.
Excuse me, boys, for doing that. Yeah, I agree. I think that he can be reasonable.
But you talk about the company you keep. That's the one thing that worries me about the entire thing too. So, like from the John Lears to the WSOs, and all that stuff. But hey, he's doing the work.
I've had people, and you mentioned John Lear. That's kind of interesting, because John Lear, I've talked to John Lear a number of times. Who is John Lear? Well, you hear Learjet, and he's related to the whole Learjet enterprise. But John Lear is a pilot, used to fly, and I think he's flown almost every aircraft there is. And by the way, just so everybody knows, this is actually called the Casper the Friendly Ghost nebula. And just to give a quick overview, it's actually located here. And where is here? Well, if we look at our constellations, okay, this is Orion. So this is the belt of 3, and it's just to the left and above the belt. So it's right there, okay? And that's kind of where we are right now. Right, we're looking at the Casper the Friendly Ghost nebula at the moment. Right, and we will, so that's where I am. So just letting you know. And I do have to take another shot. But yeah, John Lear had mentioned to me a number of thoughts that he had on certain topics. And as things change, like he told me once that there were 7 civilizations living inside the sun. And of course, I felt that was patently ridiculous, frankly. And then about 6 months later, suddenly that number jumped to 41 civilizations living inside the sun. And it's almost like I'm watching the downfall of someone who formerly was really on top of his game, and now he's not anymore. And I really felt bad, and I still feel bad, because I don't clearly there's not civilizations living inside the sun.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything to do with it being at the top of his game or anything like that. I think it's the fact that he wants to live up to the title that's been given to him as the Godfather of conspiracy.
Maybe so.
You know, and I think he's trying to live up to that now that he's in, you know, up in his years and pretty much doesn't give a crap anymore. So.
Well, he definitely is. He's definitely coming off as someone who's, you know, he's not helping himself. I can tell you that by saying these kinds of things.
Yeah,
just isn't.
But you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, for years,
always respected.
I love the stories that John Lear used to tell when they were grounded.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because they were out there, but they were never really like you couldn't really prove them wrong. You know, especially when it came to the whole Phil Schneider and all that kind of stuff. But man, you're at about a 3, and all of a sudden you take it to an 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or from 7 to 41. Crazy. You know, so you know, there's a number of people that have very interesting theories out there about how the universe works. I mean, I'm one of them. You know, I actually, you know, I'm a science guy, and I don't know what to do with some of the things I've seen. You know, I've experienced some weird things, and you know, people have called me weird and strange and all that for things I say. But you know what? I'm just honestly reporting them. I'm not trying to make a judgment as to what they are. I'm saying here's what it could be. You know, I actually lost a subscriber on YouTube. A guy said, as soon as you mentioned parallel universes, I unsubscribed from your channel. It's like, see, some people just can't handle that thought. You know, but the thing is,
we get that all the time.
It's not my theory, okay? This is the theory of a lot of modern astrophysicists too, because of the fact that we have a problem in our universe. We don't have enough mass in our universe to have done what the universe has done. So this has always been one of our conundrums. Now, is the mass out there possibly in dark matter somewhere? Maybe. You know, and you've heard the term dark matter. But have you heard the term dark energy? See, dark energy is another avenue. And dark energy is the kind of thing that might be responsible for the universe actually accelerating outward.
Yeah, and a lot of people get those confused. Just like this nebula. You know, this is the Ghost Nebula.
Yeah,
Don't get it confused with the Little Ghost Nebula or the Ghost Head Nebula. This is just the Ghost Nebula.
Yeah, this is the Casper the Friendly Ghost Nebula. You know, and it's beautiful. You can see a little dark lane in there. Okay, some stuff over here. And if I took, say, 25 or 30 shots of this and then stacked them, we would find that this was probably a very, very pretty nebula. You know, so I don't know why I don't even do that. I probably should. So I'm going to give that a little shot anyway, because I would like to actually produce something that would look nice for everybody. But while we're talking about the universes, we'll just keep taking some photos here and see what we get. You know?
There you go.
So the bottom line is, you know, the universe didn't have enough mass to do what it's doing. You know, to make this big bang, there wasn't enough mass. And when I thought about it, say about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I started to think, you know, there's got to be something else going on. Coincidentally, at the same time, while that was happening, while I was actually trying to figure out what was going on with the universe, I started having weird experiences that I could not explain. Still can't explain. However, I will be honest. I mean, for those of you that were with me some week ago or whatever, you saw that I had this big bandage on my head, all wrapped up with a freaking tail of cables coming out of the back of my head. I did feel like I was plugged into the Matrix, to be honest with you, and in a sense I was, but
yeah, you were. Just admit it.
Yeah, that's true.
Ian McQueen says, I have a 720p television. I don't see whatever you're talking about. That's because the screen's pretty dark right now. It'll be there.
What's that? Who was saying that?
Ian McQueen.
Ian, how come?
I don't know. It seems like everything's dark. Oh, there we go. There we go. It just popped up on YouTube. I just saw it.
Okay.
Now you should be able to see it, Ian.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to you being a robot.
Yeah, this is why he was saying it was dark, because he's probably not seeing the full screen. I'm taking the photo right now, Ian, so this will be dark until we end up seeing this over here. This is the resulting photo. This is what it looks like just to your eye. So yeah, the whole robotic thing is actually medical science trying to figure out what these things are that I was seeing and hearing. And, you know, you've heard people say, oh, we hear voices, oh, I hear voices. And you think, oh, they're nutcases. Well, I understand that. And I'm one of the people that would say, yeah, that's probably something concerning, except for the fact that it was me this time. and I was actually hearing people that were talking that weren't there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of weird, you know. And like I'd hear music playing that wasn't playing. I could hum the song because I could hear it.
When do you get the results of that test?
I haven't got them back yet, but I did have that thing taken off that following day, and boy, oh boy, it was as long a process coming off as it was going on.
Good hair day?
Yeah, well, you know, I had to basically leave them in my head for 24 hours. So
did you wash and condition? Rinse and repeat?
I did, yes, several times, because I had to get all this adhesive in your head had to come off. Yeah, it was really gross. But you know what? I took care of it. I literally had to shower twice. But you know what? It's okay. The bottom line is, this is me saying, look, I'm a science guy. I want to get to the bottom of it. If it's something that's medical, let's find out. You know?
Well, you know, this whole situation brings up alien abduction.
Yeah.
Like, how many times can people, like, pass it off as, what do you call it? Sleep
paralysis, hypnopompic states, hypnagogic state. Yeah. You're right. How many times can you pass that off? Well, perhaps every time, if it's something systemic to the human entity, right, the human being. But maybe not. You know, it depends. You know, there's extenuating circumstances for everything that happens.
Well, here's my problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, put yourself in those people's shoes. Okay, let's just say let's go with Benny and Barney Hill.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just out of the blue, and you know what happened. You know, you were there. You felt it.
Yes.
You know, you were in that moment. It was as real can be. And you have people telling me that it was sleep paralysis. It was carbon monoxide. It was, you know, and you're trying to tell, and like nobody really believes you 100%. And they're all trying to offer theories of what it was besides what you say it is.
Yeah. And
how annoying would that be?
Well, it is annoying, you know, and I admit that I'm one of those people that does become annoying a bit. Because I'm MUFON's chief photo and video analyst.
So annoying.
MUFON, I'm the bubble popper, right?
That's why we call you Dream Killer.
Dream Killer. It's the Mutual UFO Network, okay? And the thing is, I'm not trying to say you didn't see what you saw. I'm trying to say this is your evidence for what you saw, but here is what this evidence can also be. Yeah, I want better data. We all do. That's why Doug and I are doing the aerial anomaly detection system, the UFOTOG 2, where we can actually use scientific instruments to
alternative
look at
answers
it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it comes to a point where, you know, they want to apply the same thing to every single case.
It doesn't.
Like,
you can't.
Just because there's a good chance it might have been sleep paralysis on this front.
Yeah.
That automatically means, you know, they're going to try to apply it to every single case, even when people have no prior histories of sleep paralysis, no prior history of sleep apnea. You know, nothing falls along those lines. I just find it very, very weird that that's the first thing they go to. But
yeah,
you know, you never know, because it could be that. It could be that once again, when you know, me and you have talked about this before, when it comes to evidence, if there's a possibility it could be that, it has to stay on the table unless you can prove it otherwise.
And that's what I'm about. Exactly right. Listen, I've had experiences that indicate that they're here. I've had something shoved up my sinus. Okay.
Oh, thank God you said sinus.
I
was about to laugh.
Yeah. Well, look, it wasn't a laughing matter, of course, but I mean, the reason when that happened, I had to move out of my old house. I mean, it was such a terrifying experience. Yeah, I'm a big, tough guy, you know. But you know what? Nothing takes the toughness out of you like an experience where you have absolutely no control over your body and over the people or things that are doing something to you. And I could not believe it. You know. Ian's asking a question here. He says, "Did I review the video of the image in U-12, whatever the fast flight?" Yes. Actually analyzed that video several times, actually. And if you look at it frame by frame, there's a point. Now, here's the problem. First of all, let me paint the picture. There's a video taken by a DJI Inspire drone, and as they're flying it, they see something purportedly in the distance come racing toward them, and it looked like it had been behind a ridge that was like a little under a mile away or so. And it looked like it came racing toward the drone. They figured out that based on the size of the pixel change of this object, because they couldn't really tell how close it got to the drone, that it had to be moving 9,000 miles an hour. They thought it was a UFO. Well, no, but see, from the surface, you look at what they made for assumptions.
So they at least tried to do the homework.
That's my point. Yes, they're trying to figure out what it was.
Because I think I seen the update video on that where they tried to math it out.
Yes, and the math they used, they tried to use parallax, and they applied parallax incorrectly, which I pointed out. And the thing was, first of all, let me just take a piece at a time, because Ian asked the question. I think it's wise. If you looked at the object, you saw that at the distance it was when they first started to see it, okay, it was moving from left to right, slightly downward, and then all of a sudden it was coming toward the drone. But in that transition where it went toward the drone, you actually saw it turn, and in that turn, you saw wings flex. And what I saw, to me, it looked like a falcon charging the drone, because they're territorial birds and they will do that. I've had it happen.
Falcons are very territorial,
and it looked like this thing was charging the drone, and just by analyzing the pixels, that's not going to give you a fair assessment, because the object, the falcons are very small. They're maybe 14 inches, wingspan maybe 21 inches. So they're going to rapidly approach. Now the drone was moving forward. It was a fairly good enough altitude, so you really couldn't tell that the forward speed of the drone was about 26 miles an hour in this video, according to the operator. So that would mean that the object passed it with an oncoming speed that was, of course, added to the speed of the drone. So the passing speed could have been approximately 60 miles an hour, or 40, or 50. So that was fast enough to look pretty dramatic on the video. But where it turns to come at the drone, it literally looks like a bird saying, "What the hell is this?" and spinning in these very, very tight turns that they do, flexing its wings, which strains its bone structure, and then wham, it comes right at the drone. And because it didn't appear to be flapping its wings too hard, I felt that this means that this falcon was a lot closer than they thought it was. And it was already doing high forward motion, maybe out of a dive or whatever, and then it curved toward the drone and went right by it. And that to me, that bears out looking at the data. So I think it was actually a falcon doing a bluff charge on the drone. I've seen a hawk take down a drone.
Hawks and eagles and everything. I just posted a link in the chat for birds attacking drones, just in case anybody wants to go through there.
Oh, well done. Thank you.
Maybe find something similar. I don't know.
But see, that's what I looked at. And when I looked at it, I said, hey, this kind of looks to me, not just sort of, but when they saw the actual profile of the bird, I saw the actual shape of the wings. They're out from the side and up in the air. They were twisted. In one or two frames, they actually flex upward. That flexing gives it away to me. That flexing is what made it look to me like it was a falcon. And for those just joining us, you might wonder what I'm doing. We're in the Casper the Friendly Ghost Nebula, and we're taking a number of pictures. You can see the nebula here. And again, for some processing, you can see I can do some little bit of a processing for you to show you that we're actually looking at this object right here. And what I'm going to do is take a bunch of photos, stack them later for you, and then put them up to show you what it looks like when we actually have it to examine. It'll be a lot of fun.
You have pretty good skies tonight.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're not bad. I mean, there's some water vapor in the air. I can see water vapor in the air. It's pretty clear. And I usually have these test objects that I look at, which I did before I even streamed, to see what the quality of the night was. And if I had to rate it from 1 to 5, I'd say it's probably a 2.5 to 3.
Will your scope go down far enough to get the electric guitar cluster? It's pretty south. I know it's pretty low in the southern sky.
And is it down below? Is it in Lepus? Is it far below, like Orion?
It would be, yeah. It's down. I mean, it's pretty low. It's down by the Heart and Dagger cluster. It's like, remember the other night I asked you about Adhara?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right down in that general area.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's finish this series, and then we'll try it.
Okay.
Don't let me forget.
Sounds good.
And then, by the way, tonight, as I said, we're drifting through the skies tonight. If you guys have requests you'd like to see, come on in, tell us. You know? Yeah, Ian's saying, he saw a hawk take down a blue jay. And it was just, Yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen hawks take down other birds. And they're very fast. And they use their talons like fists. And they literally punch other birds out of the sky. Really crazy how they've honed those hunting.
But you're right. I mean, falcons are very territorial.
Yeah, and so that's why I suggested it was a falcon. I mean, could I be wrong? Sure. But, I mean, I don't know why people leap to these conclusions when you haven't tested other theories first. I'm okay if it's a UFO. I want it to be. Right. I don't know what stuck this thing up in my sinus, and I had to get it removed, by a surgeon, and when I got it removed, a week later it was lost, and they couldn't find it. Somehow it wasn't in pathology anymore. So, go figure. Go figure.
Figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, could that have been a coincidence? Sure. Could what I had been just a regular, medical thing? Sure. But the fact is, the surgeon that took this thing out of my nose, I went back to him 4 years later. Now, remember, I had a fairly high military clearance, and it looks like that's coming back. I let it go last year, and it's coming back, I think. But the surgeon himself had given up his top secret clearance that very year, the time I went back 4 years later after this event. And I realized, even if there was nothing, the fact that I told him the story about what I thought happened, he had to report it. And so they probably came and took the sample. That's kind of what I was gathering. So, that doesn't necessarily...
Jeez.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens,
That, there was a comment on one of our videos that said, you never know what is put on the moon because Apex TV talked to a time traveler. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm like, doesn't it bother you that Apex TV is the only one that talks to time travelers? And they all happen to be around 20 years old?
You know what? The problem I have, generally...
And they all blur their face out and show pictures of movies?
And they show them, they talk like this. They talk with a deep voice. They have this deep modulator.
No, it should...
I remember working with this military program, and I remember being in a dark room.
That's what we need, Mark. We need to start interviewing time travelers. Let's put the word out right now. Time travelers, if you exist in the future and are hearing this stream 100 years from now, 200 years from now, in the big internet plethora that is probably all of Earth by now, come back in time to February 3rd
and talk to us,
2019 at 23:37, right in that general time frame, and come talk to us.
Well, we got to give them some. They can't come back to a time that just passed us too. We have to give them a time that basically say, come back in 5 minutes.
Only time. Oh, yeah. Just come here in the next hour.
There you go.
There you go. How about it?
And
Make
again,
it happen.
For those just joining us, I am taking pictures of the Casper the Friendly Ghost Nebula, multiples, so that we can actually stack and produce a beautiful finished image for all of you. I'll do that offline though, because I don't want to put you through the whole image processing stuff. But you know what? You might like to see that too at some point. I might take you through. I've written a lot of stuff within Photoshop that allows us to actually do the processing. They're macros that you can make in Photoshop. Basically, a chain of commands that you can put together. But they have to be kind of intelligently put together. You have to know what you're doing. There's a lot of filters and a lot of functions within Photoshop that help you with this. And so I think it might actually behoove me to show you all that at some point. We might do that, make that a whole stream, just like photo analysis streams or photo processing streams, so you can watch the magic occur. Watch how the stack works. And when I think I need to explain stacking too, because I know people stack. Some people stack.
Yeah, I had a nice morning.
You did?
Of stacking. Yeah.
Yeah, and just so you know, I want to mention that too. Keith did a beautiful image of Jupiter. And I think that it'd be great to actually show folks your image of Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, we'll get it up on the stream one of these nights.
Well, I mean, I can probably put it in a generic screen here and dump it up and show people. You know, so people what you did. And the thing is, he actually stacked a whole bunch of images of Jupiter, and there's products out there that you don't even have to
send it to you here in Skype. Hold on.
Yeah, send it me in Skype, and let me see if I can figure out a way to put it up on the screen. I know I can. I know people would love to see it. You can't imagine the detail that Keith got out of this, and this is going to show you how stacking works because
with a rig system.
What do you mean a rig system?
The rig system with like pieces from everything.
Oh, okay. So a jury rig system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Speaking of jury rig, I have jury duty on the 8th of February. So
that's always fun.
Well, I didn't have to go last month when they had me to come. They asked me to come last month, and I didn't have to go. And I got another call right away to go back again.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you're supposed to get like 3 years in between or something. So how come they sent me? You know, why did I get a call right away? I don't know, but we'll see. But so anyway, yeah. So anyway, oh, there it is. Okay, so let me save to where it's gonna save. And now let me go over here. Oh, actually, let me bring it up first.
It still look a little faded on the outside, but you know, it's good. That's because of that focal. You know, the center is always going to be focused better than the edges, but
yeah. But I'll show folks.
If I'm up early enough tomorrow, I'll try another one.
Yeah, I'll show folks what this looks like, because what you got is actually no less than gorgeous, and I really think that you should. Man. I know. Well, I'm going to explain that to folks too, so they understand what we're doing here, what that means. Because you know, when you stack something, basically, it was sort of a black box for me in the past. I didn't know what stacking really meant when I first looked at it. But the fact is, stacking is something that you do when you want to be able to capture details. Now, why is that? Because if you have, say, 10 exposures of Jupiter, each one has a little bit of data. Now, it looks fuzzy by itself. But if you put, say, 10 of them together, then that faint blue line of atmospheric turbulence is further refined because it's signal that's kind of being separated out from the noise in the background. Because as you stack your images, the noise goes away. The noise averages out. And you get the data only. And that's why stacked images always look so much better. And that's actually what we're going to
You want to know what's crazy? How I figured out this setup would work? Paul gave me an infrared cam when we were in Wyoming.
Okay.
And I invented all kinds of stuff like in tubes and stuff, trying to get the focal length right and everything.
Okay.
And I just could not get this infrared thing working right. And I just happened to test it on the telescope. And when I put the Barlow up to it, it actually worked. And I was like, okay, but if I zoom too much with the P900,
yeah,
it would get blurry. Like it wasn't really good detail.
Okay.
So I can only go in a certain amount. So this picture is actually blown up, like it's cropped and blew up. You know. But it turned out all right.
I'm trying to actually trying to get this trying to figure out what's going on here. Got to figure out how to get this to look right.
Make it smaller.
Yeah, I'm trying. I did.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. I'm going to resize it a little bit. This is, yeah, I'm gonna go down to this and see if this makes a difference. Darn it! Looks like it's got a crop filter in there. I gotta get rid of that.
Yeah, it does.
So let me get rid of it.
There's all kinds of stuff in it. Just trying to make it look good.
Yeah.
Between contrast and, you know, once you get the final stacking done, then you can tweak it. And,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
No, it's pretty. And so.
Well, it was lucky because the storm was around. Number one.
For sure.
There wasn't a planet in front of it. Number two.
Yeah.
You know, but I think tomorrow morning at the same time, I think there's going to be like Io or something like that. It's going to be like in the way. I don't know. I'll try if I'm up, but I doubt it since I'm going to be on here with you. But and hello, DDB.
Dee Dee's with us.
Dee Dee is with us.
Hey, Dee Dee. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us. That's wonderful. Yeah, this is your Jupiter, and I'm trying to figure out a way to. Oh, I know how to do this. Hold on one second. Let me just take this and...
That's good enough.
No, it's not. This will make it good enough. No, it won't. Where are we doing here? I want this.
It's just a picture, man. I'll post it on the P&K Facebook if everybody wants it.
No, hang on. I can get this looking good. I think I can. What's going on?
I think I can.
Me thinks I can. Yeah, so let me just get rid of a bunch of stuff here. Not that.
Can I admit something, though?
You may.
I kind of colored the gray section in there. This, like in the middle of that big band.
In here?
Yeah, it was showing up as like a bright blue for some reason. So I kind of just... I mean, I wasn't sure if it was noise or what.
Gotcha.
But I was able to go in and actually reduce the colorization.
Wow.
And so that's probably not the color, but I just thought it looked better.
Well, this is what you did. This is pretty gorgeous.
I kind of wanted to like clear it up top, so maybe I'll do that tomorrow morning. I'll try to get it cleared up top, like make the focal point the top of the planet.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do because, as I said, this is blown up, so this is not, the size of the picture. The size of the picture is way smaller. Like I just cropped it and blew it up to this.
Well, I know, but you know what? I mean, there's so many things we can do here. We can actually sharpen this,
Probably.
And do some sharpening. I mean, I'm doing it right now. So you see that the image is getting a little sharper, and you can see the details in these bands a little better.
Sharpening.
That's
It was a good morning, man. It was like crisp.
I can tell.
It's cold as hell.
I can tell.
Welcome to Amish country.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I'm pleased. That was really beautiful, man. And I want people to see that. I want everybody to see what you did. So that was really, really well done. So
that's going to go on a T-shirt.
Yeah, it's like one little disc,
Yeah. The cool part about it is I talked to the astronomy guys that are down. Remember that astronomy place the dome that I was talking about? Me and you could go to and take over for a weekend.
In like Allegheny.
And he said that he was up taking shots this morning as well. So I wanted to compare, like, because he has the 24-inch scope, and I only had that little 114.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, the difference, like, what the quality would be since he's going to have so much more resolution to work with. You know what I mean? I bet you they're amazing.
Maybe so. I think that we can accomplish the same thing with stacking. Like one of their shots could equal, say, 10 of our stack shots.
And no, but imagine like just the clarity of that entire photo.
Actually, just imagine stacking 20 of their shots.
I think we can take over that observatory for a weekend, though. We should.
Well, I think we should if we can. I don't know if we passed on to folks that you're going to be doing us a great favor at SkyTour LiveStream by taking our spare dome down to the school that we donated it to in Tennessee.
Yeah.
We
I
donated.
swear I'm not going to drive right by it and drive back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we donated an 8-foot dome, a fiberglass astronomy dome, it's a telescope dome, to the school in Knoxville, Tennessee, for kids to actually rehab and put their Celestron 14 instrument into. The good friend of mine, childhood friend, is the astronomer there and art teacher, believe it or not. And he does it as an amateur, astronomy. And so he'll be overseeing the rehab process of the dome. He's very mechanically inclined, so he'll be able to figure it out. And they will replace rollers, and they'll get this thing working. They'll be able to get it automated. And then
is that dome going to Tennessee or Kentucky? I forget.
No.
Tennessee, right?
Tennessee, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Kentucky's a little farther.
Well, you have to go through Kentucky if you're going down 81 to get to Tennessee.
Oh, well, then maybe I'm wrong. Okay, yeah, but it's Tennessee for sure. It's Knoxville.
Yeah, you have to go just through a little part of Kentucky, I think.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. It's been a while.
It's all right.
Actually, I'm going to message her right now. Find out what she's doing at the end of the month.
That's right.
Because you said you're going to fly back, right?
Yeah, I'm probably going to.
Possibility?
Yeah, I'm going to probably fly back. Yeah.
If I'm getting the road miles, I might as well
I'll drive down
stop in and see people. Anybody in Tennessee?
I'll drive down with you and then fly back.
Anybody live in Tennessee want to make me dinner? Nothing? Nobody? Okay.
Don't be so sure.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a lot of good people.
Actually, I don't remember a lot of people, like a lot of our regular people anyway, being from Tennessee.
Well,
I know we have a couple Alabama. I know.
yeah. We had a new listener from Alabama.
Dagger's Alabama, I think.
Yeah. We had a new SkyTour LiveStream subscriber from Tennessee. I'm sorry, Alabama. And that was very nice.
I'm gonna go up and visit Dee Dee one day, just out of the blue.
Just show up.
Yeah, just show up, just like she does in my streams and start sniping people. I'm just gonna show up at her door.
D. Smith, are you in Alabama? Are you in Huntsville? Because if you are,
that's cool. I've been to Huntsville.
Well, in Huntsville, actually, there's a school that has my a large set of planets that I made for them hanging from their ceiling. I made these giant planets that hang from the ceiling for hundreds of installations around the country, and one of them is in Huntsville, Alabama. And it's a school, and we made these beautiful planets. The ones we did now were illuminated from within like lamps. They were just big, like Jupiter was 4 feet across. Okay, but the ones we did for Huntsville were smaller, and they were actually painted foam and fiberglass, and it was beautiful because they looked so realistic, you know. So that's pretty cool. That's right. I mean, if you're in Huntsville, that's Rocket City, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Am I right? It's Rocket City, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did one there, and I did another one in Huntsville as well, and then I did one in Fort Mill in the Carolinas, and then I did about 50 around the country for this other place. You know, really cool. Okay, so and D. Smith says, yeah, the company transferred from Northern California to here. Love it. When it's not sticky summer. Yes. Yeah, you probably get like black flies or something down there too, I imagine. In Maine, there's black fly season. I used to vacation in Maine every summer. And depending on when you go up, there's black flies. And you literally feel like a cow swatting them off you. You know? It's just crazy. Ronald is here. Hello, Radio, Ronald.
Radio.
Yes. Exceptional Relational Radio tonight. ERRT. I don't know what that means. I knew what it meant. He told us one night.
Isn't he playing some jams tonight or something?
Well, that's where Amanda was. Amanda was doing a show. Yep.
I see.
Yep. There's Marco. Hey, Marco, how's it going? Nice to have you join us here. Indeed, I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. You know, I love when she snipes people.
I know, it's the greatest thing ever.
You know, just like, holy cow. But you know what? We don't have that problem so much. We had it during the eclipse.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, we don't either. I mean, it's been really good. I mean, I really like what you two did with the chat, and I'm so glad that we were able to be a part of that. Where, you remember back when I was allowing them to monitor the chat for the night when we went live?
Uh-huh.
That's what this is why the chat is the way it is now. Because they were monitoring live chats and stuff, and they saw, you know, what was going on, people just trolling and whatnot. And this is the idea they came up with post approvals and automatically, moderating the comment section.
Yeah.
So, and I think they did a really good job. I think for the most part, it works pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, one or two slip by, and then Dee Dee just sits back there like Chuck Norris and snipes them, and you know. But it's great, you know, and that's why, you know, I downsized the moderators, and I just kept the people that were actually moderating.
Yeah.
You know, because I had a whole bunch of people that were moderators that just were there just because of the blue name, you know, and believe it or not, that kind of scares off new people, you know, when they come in and they see everybody's name, and they're like, well, why is my name not blue?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, well, so I kept, you know, I think I have 15, which is like a normal for what do we have now, like 36,000, 37,000 subscribers?
Yeah, you do.
So, and with YouTube doing, you know, their thing, it's probably a perfect thing.
Yeah, I mean, we only have 2,750 subscribers roughly, so we're not there yet.
I know, but you're growing quick. 'Cause didn't we just not a couple months ago? We're trying to get you to 1,000.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, and we were all celebrating once we hit it.
Yeah, and after
we were doing that live.
Yeah, and after 1,000, it was it does kind of go up faster.
Yeah, I told you, once you hit that 1,000 mark, then stuff starts going off.
Yeah, it's true.
Really quick.
Yeah.
And I came up with an idea, and I'll announce it here first, just because there's a lot of people that are also subscribers to P&K.
Okay.
I have an intake feed that I use for Paul's telescope, which is also on YouTube. And I'm thinking, because it needs a certain, because for people to be able to stream, or for people to be able to monetize, like Heidi was saying, you need a certain amount of watch hours and stuff like that.
That's right, you do.
So I was thinking that maybe I can actually give these channels away once they reach that criteria to people that want to be able to monetize a channel. So and I'm just going to use the intake feed channel, because I have no reason to use it. So once I get it up to whatever that minimal barrier is, which I can do, because usually it's me and Paul, or Paul going back and looking at the feed, or me going back and looking at the intake feed. There's views there. We're both watching it every time we stream, so that's view time. So it builds up pretty quick. So I'm thinking about maybe just creating a channel, using that as the intake feed, and once it reaches that plateau, giving it away to somebody that wants to be able to monetize, their content.
Oh, cool.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
That they don't have to sit there and build, and wait, and they would already have the criteria. You would just have to get the subscribers then.
Hey,
but
William
everything
King.
else would be set for you.
Welcome, William King. Hey, Raymond B. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that Keith and I are shooting the breeze tonight on a bunch of all things astronomical and stream-wise.
Yeah.
Ran through some ideas about a portable observatory that we're going to make to be able to move around the country and take to different places, and that'll be in addition to the permanent.
Well, let's just clarify. This is Mark's complete idea. I am highly interested in it, however, and I would not be afraid to be a part of it if everything goes to plan.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm certainly not. Someone that needs to have all this credit and attention. I just want to see it out there.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that was the best part about the lunar eclipse night.
Yeah.
I said that time and time and time again. It's because I even posted on my Facebook, the hashtag was, astronomy is alive.
Yeah.
You had all these people that on regularly ain't outside looking up, ain't looking at the moon, and then you get streams where Mark has 50,000, now 120 some thousand people. Our stream with the 2.6 million. That means people came and sought out astronomy because of a lunar eclipse. If a lunar eclipse is what it takes to get people interested in astronomy, even if it's 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 10, 12-year-old kids that that moment is the moment they decided they wanted to go in astronomy, it was worth it.
Exactly.
Because that is the future.
Yeah, that's
what we're looking at right now is the future.
That's the aha moment. It's the moment when people say, "Wow, this is for me."
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're going to need those people. We're going to need rocket scientists. We're going to need astronomers. We're going to need people to figure out these problems. And the earlier they get invested in it, the better. Yeah. And I love it.
Well, I've told you the story, and I think other people have heard it, some of them. I got into astronomy because I had heart surgery at age 9, and when I got out of the hospital, I couldn't do anything. So my parents bought me a telescope because of the chief of the fire department gave my parents money to buy me a telescope, which is wonderful. And when they bought it, I started getting interested in astronomy so much that of course, I couldn't do a whole lot of exercise at that point. I drew up a space station plan on notebook paper. Remember that? And that space station plan I sent to NASA. Big dreams, 9-year-old kid. And it took about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I finally got it back. And it was in a big box full of stuff. Everything space related. It had cloth mission patches. I had models in there that they gave me. I didn't buy any of this stuff. They donated this so that I could actually get involved in the human space program. And I was 9. And they actually sent me a bunch of brochures, books. I called it my space.
That just lit the fire.
It lit the fire. That was my space box. And then my plan had been reviewed by a NASA scientist, a real NASA scientist. And on each page, he checked off the things that were good and made little notes to me. This is a fantastic idea, Mark. I came up with a way to get rid of carbon dioxide from your breath. Okay, and he said we have carbon dioxide scrubbing systems now to remove the carbon dioxide from the air, because as you point out, carbon dioxide is a toxin, you know. And so he talked to me like, you know, a peer, and even though I was 9, and it was actually signed by him, and his name was Bert Lee, you know. And I've told this story, so if you've heard the story, but so in later years, you know, I lost track of who Bert Lee was and everything. Well, it turns out that Bert Lee now is JPL's head of the engineering directorate. He actually is the guy that oversees all of the robotic missions to the outer solar system. He oversaw New Horizons. He oversaw all the Martian landings. He oversaw the Lunar reconnaissance orbiter. He oversaw all these things. He was the chief engineer. And his name is Gentry Lee. It's Bert Gentry Lee. And I called him one day. I called him, actually, I emailed him and said, Gentry, you may not remember me, but I was a 9-year-old kid when I sent you a space plan, blah, blah, blah. And I told the whole story like I just told you guys. And he said to me in a return email, which came back very quickly, you know, it was like a page. Wow, you know, you're right, I don't remember, but boy, that was me when I was working at NASA. I did do that kind of thing. You know, the kids were so important to us, blah, blah, blah. It's so nice to see that you actually continue to move forward in astronomy. He said, let's keep in touch. And so we have, and it's really the coolest thing. And this is a guy who, he was like my idol, someone I never imagined I could talk to, you know, and there he was. Now he's part of my world. It's like, holy cow, you just have to step out of your box. You got to step out of your comfort zone and try something. You know, try something, even if your plan isn't the best. Mine certainly wasn't, okay? I didn't show them anything they didn't know. Hello, Cosmic Lettuce, thanks for coming in. You know, Cosmic, you know, it's raining down there. Yeah, I heard from one of the Gilbert cops today, who I did a ride-along with her when I was out there for 10 days recently, and she said it's raining and nasty out there. So that's one of the days of the year when it rains there. I get it. You know? So this guy, Gentry Lee, then served as an idol. That and a telescope, and man, you know what? You're done. Hook, line, and sinker. You are an astronomer, and that's why at age 9, I knew I was going to be an astronomer. I knew it. I absolutely knew it. You know?
And sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, right?
You know? Something that little.
Yeah.
Just responding and you know, giving that positive reinforcement, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you weren't perfect here, but here's some notes on how you can make it better and blah, blah, blah. You know, kids respond to that.
Yeah. And then our Romac says, you know, a very inspiring story. Yeah, it is. You know, it was to me. And you know what? I've told this to other kids, you know, because I've actually, you know, I don't just do my observatory and do this. I mean, actually, we'll go off into schools and I'll actually teach children now and then. I was a special teacher. I was traveling, I guess, an itinerant instructor. I would go to schools all over New England and teach special classes. Like, I actually taught kindergartners how light works, and they got it. Why? Because you gave them toys. You gave them stuff to show how it works. They put a grating in front of their eyes. They could see the rainbow, you know? And you say, here, that grating's yours. Now you can always do these explorations. And these kids are walking around with these gratings, these diffraction gratings in front of their eyes. Look, the school pays for the materials. It's 10 cents a grating. Hello.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we can get these sponsorships worked out.
Yeah.
So I know you're working on Mead. We're working on Celestron. You know, one thing, you know, me and Paul had talked about this out in Wyoming, is that we would love to have just an Astroimaging Live meetup sometime where we would actually be able to fly people out that we wanted, you know?
Yeah.
So like if we wanted Dee Dee there, we could, you know, pay for Dee Dee's flight, and, you know, we would take care of everything when it came to, you know, food and all that stuff. We would have an area that we would, you know, everybody would meet up at.
Well,
we thought it'd be really awesome, and then we would have representatives there from Celestron, and you know, it's something to look forward to in the future if we can get something done. As long as the channel keeps going, because Celestron looks at numbers, and you know, from the last communication I had with them, which actually was before the eclipse, they were high on P&K, you know,
yeah.
And they didn't see the massive amount of views the lunar eclipse got yet. You know, but with that being put aside, because we realize that's a rarity, I think because our first thing is going to be to try to get a couple telescopes to give away.
Yeah.
To people, and once again, we won't keep them for ourselves. That they would actually be shipped by Celestron from their area. They would ship it to whoever wins. You know, we would have a no-touch policy with that. But on top of that, I mean, there's so many benefits of working with a company, like especially like with you. If Meade comes out with new products, they can send them to you to test first. You know, Celestron comes out with new stuff, they can send them to Paul. You know, and Paul, I mean, you two alone would be the best people to promote some of their newest products.
Sure, I agree with that. You know, but you know what? But this is all, you know, in time. We'll get all this in time. The thing is, you know, with the stuff I've already done.
Well, my main point was funding. Funding is the hardest thing to do because you can't do anything without being compensated for your time.
No,
I mean, that's just the way life is.
That is true.
You know,
that's absolutely true.
You can volunteer your time ever so much, but the fact is that people keep wanting more, and you know you have to sacrifice somewhere, and most times it's an employment somewhere so you can dedicate more time, and you somehow have to get compensated for that. You still have to live, you still have to pay bills, you know, and that's the hardest part, and that's where sponsorships come in that are so beneficial, as you were seeing on YouTube the past 2 years, you know, of all these channels getting sponsorships with like makeup companies or, you know, Audible, or, you know, you see them all over the place.
Yeah, you do.
You know, and that's the main thing. So if we can get these guys on board, we could do bigger and better things, and that's the point. And the good thing is we've kept a really good relationship with Celestron, you know, and I'm pretty sure you're good with me. So let's hope. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we'll be giving away some telescopes sometime in the near future.
That'd be great. I would hope that works out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can. You can talk to Meade and tell them what we're doing with Celestron, and then make them jealous, and then we'll tell Celestron what you're doing with Meade to make them jealous, and maybe they'll just keep giving us more and more.
Or not.
Yeah, or not.
Yeah.
That's the key, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so hard. It's so hard to balance it, and I mean, look at it this way. I mean, from what we do now, you know, myself, Paul, you, even Bill, the amount of time we dedicate now is a little much.
Yeah.
But it's something that we love doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to break that. And once again, what's the old saying? You'll never work a day in your life if you love what you're doing.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. That's why I started my
American dream.
That's why I started my own company. You know, I have a visual effects company to make models.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work for the Navy and other folks in movies and television. But I'm an astronomer inside. You know, I've always been an astronomer. And so that's where my direction lies.
Camille wants to know if you can look at the Leo constellation. She asked twice. That's all the reason I'm interrupting.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Camille. Yeah, Leo's coming up, and if we get to Leo, it's going to be really pretty out there. We just have to wait for it to come up. It's in the murk right now. Actually, I need to go outside to move the dome a little bit. I don't have my dome rotation mechanism in place yet. But I'm getting it in place. I'm working on that, and when I get it in place, then we'll be able to look here. I'm actually right now. I've got it's on the guitar cluster, the thing you asked for before.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to go out there and make sure the dome's not in the way, because when I look at it, I see, and when I go into 4K mode here, I see the red impingement from the dome. So I got to go out and check out which way it's going.
Not a problem. I'll put on my dancing shoes.
You do that, man. I'll be right back, folks, on more SkyTour LiveStream after this message from Keith.
Yep, from me. I'm actually going to go down and see who's participating in the chat. I'm going to go down a participant list. Let's see. We got Camille Anderson and Sherry. Hello, Sherry. And Mr. Schmidt, the teacher. Dee Dee, the sniper. Ron, the radio guy. Ian McQueen. James Dugan. John Ostains. I hope I'm saying that right. Raymond B. William King. That's who I have as active participants. There's probably more, but that's who's participating in the chat. Do you say that Quentist? Quentist? Is it? I'm guessing. Yeah, the participant list is usually way off. And to the rest of you watching, but not participating in chat, hello. You're watching SkyTour LiveStream with Mark D'Antonio and me, Keith. from P&K Space Imaging. I decided to hang out tonight because we really weren't doing nothing, and the Super Bowl wasn't interesting. So we decided just to come on here and take some pictures and talk to you guys. But yeah, so fingers crossed for the future, people. We're working on it behind the scenes. You have a lot of stuff coming from Mark. You have a video from us, which is the new series that we are doing over on P&K, which is I can actually tell you the name of it, but it's the Planet series we talked about the other night. And of course, the first one up will be Mercury, and that video will be up. Now, once again, I should tell you, it's geared more towards adults. This is not learning for adolescents. It's learning with a twist, and I think most people that watch our channel, I mean, will get it and like it, if you have a sense of humor. But yeah, so that video should be out this week, and we're going to do each planet. So just Mercury is the first one up, and then of course you have Mark with this amazing setup that he has going now. Just blows my mind when I look at it. Like when he first started streaming, this exactly how he is doing this now is everything that I thought it would be. It's just amazing.
Nice of you to say that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when we first started talking about you streaming, I was like, man, all this equipment this guy got, he's gonna be awesome, you know. And it's evolved to that. It evolved to exactly what I thought it would be, which is even better.
Once I got the bug in my ear.
Usually I have high expectations, you know.
But once I got the bug in my head, this disease, so to speak, that the observatory had to be remote. Okay, that is when it became a reality. This is the Guitar cluster. The problem is it's down in some cirrus clouds low to the horizon, so that's why it looks as bad as it does. Unfortunately.
Well, still, I mean, you still got it there. I mean, that's not bad. You can contrast it up a little bit and probably make that cluster kind of peek out.
That's what I'm about to do. Just try it out. Okay, so
it's a very interesting cluster.
Yeah, it's pretty dense. Okay, so if we actually go into the into this and actually play with this a little bit, maybe we can.
Yeah, Dee, go, e-gollies. I had to call you out on that one, Dee.
Yeah,
e-gollies. ¿Dónde está e-gollies?
¿Dónde están los águilas?
Yeah, I wish I knew Spanish. Probably made no sense whatsoever.
Yo hablo español por 4 años en mi escuela secundaria, pero ahora mi vocabulario es muy poco, no es muy grande.
Yeah.
Pero yo entiendo.
What he said.
Exactly. So yeah, okay, so that cluster was a little too low. It's in the cloud right now, but interesting.
I was looking at that.
You were? You want to look at it again?
Sorry. No, it's okay.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, it's really faint. This is all white cloud here. You know, there's a bank of cirrus clouds.
But still, look at that cluster. I mean,
it's pretty
imagine,
rich.
I'm trying to think. Does that come up? No, it would go lower in the summertime. So it's up, like it's at its.
Well, this is where it is.
Pretty much.
Here's where it is. Check it out.
Yeah,
this is our view. Okay, and if we actually look at how high it is above the horizon, okay, we have to bring up the lines. You can actually see that right now this cluster is sitting only 5 to 8 degrees above the horizon. Actually, 8 degrees above the horizon, about 6 actually. That's not much. So you know we're actually able to see it, and it's kind of on an angle down there. So
in the summertime, it would tilt back down, so it would go pretty much out of sight in the summer, I'm guessing.
Well, in the summer, you don't see these constellations either. This is the other side of the, this is where the sun's going to be. You know, so but we have all these different clusters. Here's the star Sirius, and you know, if we're not looking toward the south anymore, we're looking toward the southwest. Okay, this is the south. And Camille, you asked about Leo. This is the constellation of Leo right here. You can see, of course, from our mythological character of Leo the Lion. And you can see Regulus here. And I'm going to show you, since we can, I'm going to show you a couple of the things I took a picture of the other night. And I'm going to do that by coming up here. I didn't do the quartet. I'm going to find these other ones here. Make sure that I'm going to make sure I don't.
So you're basically, you moved the dome thing, so you're basically southwest. You got it open pretty much that whole sky.
Yeah, I'm looking toward the south right now.
Okay.
You know? So if I look upwards, I will see Leo. And now that it's sort of, I'm trying to get it out of the murk, so I have to look at the stuff that's in the western side of Leo here. So let's actually see if we can do that. So first of all, as you see where I'm looking here, you'll see that, you know, I'm looking kind of toward the south a little bit, and then up there's Leo right here. That's all Leo. And then we have Regulus, which is the brightest star, Alpha Leo here. Okay, and this star is actually a fairly bright star, and it's a B-type star, as in boy, B. You know, B8.
Just, man, what were them guys on back then? How do you get a lion out of that?
Well, I mean, this looks like the main.
Well, you know what they do?
Legs,
those two stars
tails.
underneath kind of look like that's where legs could go, I guess.
This is the backwards question mark for the head. This is
Yeah.
you draw the lines for the body. This is what you get.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you're only seeing the primary lines of the constellation, not seeing all the little ones too that they drew into their mythology. You know?
Hey, man, whatever they needed to remember all this stuff back then.
Yes, they did what they had to do, didn't they? Did what they had to do.
That's quite amazing, actually. Like how much they were able to catalog.
Oh, I know, huh?
You know, you figure, you know, the golden age of India, you know, kicked it off, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then it just went on from there until, who was it, the Romans?
Well,
Or was it
we had Arabs. We had the Arabic.
Arab? Yeah.
So we're gonna look right here.
Oh yeah, we talked about it the other night with like the House of Baghdad and all that.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
This is what I photographed the other night. So I'm gonna take us there, and let's go see that.
And what is that?
That's the Leo triplet. It's actually 3 galaxies, only of which I have 2 showing here. And let's see if I can get up to them. We see the stars zipping by, so we know we're moving. We're pulling in. There's a star.
The Leo triplet.
Yes, there's several stars in there that we want to see.
Is that near his stomach?
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that was right there. And if we look, that's kind of like, well, more like the lower intestine.
That's where his pee-pee should be. So it's right in that general area.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. Every 14-year-old just went, hee hee. Giggle, giggle. That's it. Oh, Amanda's here.
Amanda's here.
I hope
Oh, great. I lost my job.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you're fine. Amanda had a show on radio tonight. That's why she couldn't join me. And so I thought that was wonderful that she did that. If she wants to join us, she let us know. We'll bring you in. It's your call, Amanda.
Hello, Amanda.
Amanda. That's what Bill calls her.
Bill. I got to get on Skype with Bill sometimes. I haven't talked to him, actually, like talk to him in a while. I should get on there and talk to him.
Yeah.
Is that like hardly ever has time? Like every time I go to talk to him on Skype, it's like, you know, we talk for a couple minutes. The next thing you know, he's like, all right, I got to go. Bye.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm like, yeah, he's a busy guy, man. He puts a lot of time into that radio.
Bill's our producer at KJRA, yeah.
Yeah.
And he produces a lot of shows. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, see, DDB just immediately sniped somebody again.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Yes, sirree. Kabam. All right, let's get Amanda in here.
Do what you wanna do.
Can you bring her in from your side? I'm trying to figure out how to...
Yeah, I can if you want.
Sure. Give her a ringy-ding.
Give her a little ringy-dingy?
Yes. 1 ringy-dingy. 2 ringy-dingies.
There we go. More options. No, wait. How did you... Wait. Oh, no, I got it. Amanda. Well, she has do not call one, so I'm not sure if this will go through if I
She
call.
knows you're calling now.
So it will go through, even though
Yes.
she's red? Oh, she's turned green. Never
What
mind.
happened here?
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's call the grand prize winner.
Okay, and I'm going to have to move the dome again so I can get this. So I'll be right back. I can't wait to get my darn dome movement thing finished. I'll be right back, guys.
Hello. Who is the grand prize winner on ERRT Radio? Hello.
Hi. There's no grand prize winner, but hopefully everyone won with some laughs tonight.
Oh,
For
yeah?
the Sunday Night Funnies, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I kind of took your spot tonight.
That's okay.
Not intentionally.
That's
We were
okay.
just kind of chit-chatting, and we were live trying to test the infrared system, and it happened to fall and break, and, then I was doing nothing. So I jumped over here with Mark.
Okay, no problem.
So-
Yeah, no, I felt bad that I wasn't able to join earlier, but I made a commitment starting last week that, well, I figured it would work out because it would be about a half hour after SkyTour Radio, but because of the Super Bowl tonight, we didn't do a live show, so
Yeah, I was kind of
still want
wondering
to
why
play
you
the
guys
Sunday
didn't
Night Funnies. Yeah, I know. I would have. I don't care about football, but I guess some people do.
Well, from what I'm seeing, it wasn't the best Super Bowl ever either.
Yeah.
So, But supposedly the commercials were good this year.
Yeah.
What people are saying. I don't know. I'll
That
check
was
them.
halftime.
No idea. We were testing the PIS system at the time. And yes, I said PIS system. We need to work. We need to work on a new thing for that. But the PIS system, as me and Paul LOL it and call it, is the P&K infrared sky scan. But we'll change that around. So it's either PIS system or PKIS. Pick one. So we'll rename it.
Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
It's alright. I couldn't be on earlier.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, the show was cool. How'd it go? I couldn't listen. I was doing all the prep.
I don't know. People seem to enjoy it.
Was it a comedy? Was it a comedy show?
Yeah, Sunday Night Funnies.
Oh, who'd you
I'm gonna
play? Who
pick
was
a
it?
different comedian each week and play a stand-up routine.
Oh, cool. Who was it this time?
I did an evening with Robin Williams.
Oh, that's wonderful, man. Oh, boy. Man. That's fantastic. I like Robin Williams.
I get tired just listening to him.
I know, right?
Oh, I was exhausted halfway through. Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. Look at that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's the Leo triplet. There's 2 of those galaxies. They're really pretty. Let me give them a little bit of a processing add-on to help us out here. I'll have to do it this way, first of all.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, so let me do that, and then do this. And now let's do some filtering.
Where's Andromeda this time of year?
Oh, Andromeda's almost set. Not setting, but it's like way over
in the west?
Way over in the west, yeah. Yeah, way in the west.
I'm still obsessed with that picture you got that night. That was just insane.
It's a beautiful night. Now this is pretty. You can actually see the dust lanes in the galaxy right here. The very dark lanes that are in the spiral arms of this galaxy. This galaxy is sort of on kind of an oblique angle to us. It's not flat on to us. It's not edge on. This one is also, so it kind of looks weird. It looks a little different. But I know that there's another galaxy that we want to check out too. That's right near it. Okay, this is M66 and this is M65. Measure 66 and 65. So let's go back over to our planetarium program here, and let's take a look at I want to take a look at this other. Those are pretty big galaxies, right? And we took a look at those, and now I want to look at.
I have a question.
Okay, cool.
when I came in, someone was asking to see Leo,
That was
and you
Camille.
were showing everything, the lines and the actual like picture
Yeah.
of the lion. Oh, I thought you couldn't see constellations. I thought you could only see asterisms because they were too big.
Well, I'm showing it in Stellarium. You know what I mean? So in other words, I was showing it here in this product in Stellarium. If I back out, okay, this here is the asterism within Leo the lion. This is Leo. Okay, here's a star here that's in Leo. This corresponds to its foot. Then there's other stars here. Denebola is near the tail, but the tail continues. The eye is up here. This is the star that's it's called Elacid Australis, Al Janubi. And so these are stars that are within Leo, and then you have Algeba, which is near the main. Okay, but then again, without the pictures, you are kind of left to look at this and say, well, look, this is the paws of the lion, this is the mane, the body, and the tail. So we can see it in Stellarium, but in the telescope, obviously, we're looking at a very, very tiny location, and that's the problem. We're not looking at a very, very large, very small area. I mean, we're looking at a very large area. We're looking at the constellations, and our telescope can't do that. That's all,
Okay.
But there's a lot of there are a lot of galaxies in Leo. It's almost like you don't know where to start, And we just let's take a look at one that's called the Hamburger Galaxy. But why? Because, well, it'll make people feel hungry.
Put the Rosette Nebula on there too sometime.
Well, the Rosette is way back over near Orion, and not sure we're going to be able to see it now. It's east of Orion. It's up from the horizon. Orion's near the horizon. Then you have Sirius and Canis Major.
Right.
Yeah. But the Rosette is kind of low.
Well, what about? Yeah, it's not too low.
Well, actually, I'll show you. I'll show you on Stellarium. Let me just take this shot of the Hamburger Galaxy, which should be right around here.
Double wedge cluster.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
John wants to know the guitar and the hamburgers. Are they like just made up names? Like, he wants to know if their real names are made up, and I guess every name is made up. But
Yeah,
who came up with them? Like, it seems a pretty far stretch from.
Yeah, but they're colloquial names that stuck over time. Okay, but there's the Hamburger Galaxy. You can actually see it, and it's actually a very narrow galaxy, but it has a neat look to it, which I want to show you.
This might help. Mark, what town are you from again?
I'm in Terryville, Connecticut.
That's what I have it set to here, and even though it's not going to be a big difference, I just wanted to set my Stellarium
Oh, yeah,
to your
there you go.
location.
Well, you can see why this is called the Hamburger Galaxy now. This is a galaxy that's edge on to us. So we actually see this dark dust lane through the center of this galaxy, right? And then stuff above it and below it. So it's a very flat galaxy with a not too pronounced central bulge, but it has this dark lane of dust right through the middle. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So that's kind of why it's named the Hamburger. So yeah, you might right. It might be a good name for it. But this is what happens. It becomes a colloquial name. But if you actually want to know the real name of the thing, well, then that's, it's actually, different. Okay, the name of the Hamburger Galaxy, I'll show you right here, is actually part of the Leo triplet. It's called King Hamlet's Ghost, the Vanishing Galaxy, and NGC 3628. It's got other designations as well. Usually these objects are pretty, they're definitely pretty crazy. They have pretty crazy names sometimes. And we did look at these particular galaxies, which are 35 million light years away from us. Okay. All right. And, the Hamburger Galaxy here is actually 45 million light years away. So it's.
I think you just explained David's question. He had always thought some constellations made your stars fit into the body of their namesake, but usually with enough wiggle room that they could have used another animal.
Yeah.
So he was wondering why they chose the ones that they did. I guess it goes back to culture and what they saw at the time.
That is also very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the hamburger, you know, with the layers like that, it looks more like a hamburger than King Hamlet's Ghost.
Yeah,
Although I
know.
do like that name a lot better.
It is kind of interesting, yeah. And I don't know why they call it King Hamlet's Ghost. You know. Let's go to this galaxy here. This is another one. This is an active galaxy. And what do we mean by active? Well, a lot of times there's galaxies that actually show strange activity in them. In other words, they're either very, very loud in the radio frequencies or in the X-ray frequencies. So that might be what active galaxy means. There's different types. There's Cipher galaxies. There's star-forming galaxies that are called starburst galaxies. We know about one of those from SkyTour LiveStream because we've seen it. You know, it's M82 in Ursa Major, or not. It's near Ursa Major, and it's an active galaxy. It used to be called the exploding galaxy, but it wasn't exploding. It was actually undergoing a burst of star formation, which is why it got that name. So let's take this picture here of the
cheese.
Yeah, that's it. Say cheese.
No, I'd make it a cheeseburger.
Yeah, this isn't a hamburger galaxy, unfortunately.
Oh.
Not yet.
Well, if it was, it would have been a brilliant joke.
I know, wouldn't it?
I laughed.
Thank you.
Yep. So we'll see what this is. This is going to be this little tiny galaxy right here. And so this one's 75 million light years away. And you can see some, you know, the stuff that's going on. And as you can tell, it's white because it's actually kind of in the murk still. We got some murkiness going on.
How do we know something's 75 million light years away?
That comes down to one of our SkyTour radio shows. And it has to do with the cosmological distance ladder. All right. Being able to gauge the distance comes from studying something on the galaxy that's known as the redshift of the galaxy. And beyond a certain distance, all the galaxies seem to be shifting toward the red. It's called the velocity of recession, the speed at which they're running away from us. Based on that, and again, it goes back to the analogy, which Amanda did a beautiful analogy of something I mentioned on the radio show, where we talked about how, because of the way the universe is expanding, everything that we see is moving away from us, you know, beyond the local stuff that could be coming toward us, like the Andromeda Galaxy. When you go out and look at those more coarse global measurements, you see that everything is racing away from us. You say, well, how can that be? And the bottom line is, if you take a balloon and you start to blow it up, remember that one, Amanda, that you did?
No.
The balloon analogy.
Oh, the balloon analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that, okay.
Yeah. You know, if you put a bunch of black dots on the balloon right near each other and then you blow the balloon up, no matter which black dot you sit on, every other black dot's moving away from you as the expansion continues. And that's the analogy for the universe. You know, moving outward and expanding. Everything's moving away. See? So, what that means is, if you measure the speed at which something's moving away, you can figure out how far away it is based on something called the redshift. And the redshift is a number which tells you how fast, like this galaxy here, is speeding away from us. And that's an interesting thing to talk about, because that recessional velocity is something that we are very much interested in. And it depends on a few things. It depends on this Hubble constant that Edwin B. Hubble came up with, which talks about it's like a constant number, which turns out to be not so constant. But it's a process by which we were able to discover and figure out just how fast the universe was moving away from us, and just how fast the let me just get something going here. I'm trying to get my lights on here. Yeah, okay. And just how fast the universe is moving away from us, and thus how far things are from us. You know, and so it's a pretty interesting technique, you know, but it's part of something we call the cosmological distance ladder.
Does the...
You should have a thing that comes on screen that just says, "The more you know." A little rainbow.
You're funny. The more you know. Bing. Yeah.
Says the number. I don't know how to phrase this. Does the number of the speed increase? Did that make sense? I don't know if that made sense.
It didn't.
The speed that the universe is expanding, does that number increase?
Actually,
are we going faster?
That's interesting because what you just said is actually very important. And it turns out that the universe, the expansion of the universe, is something that we have thought was relatively constant. The expansion was fairly constant. It turns out that the universe is expanding faster and faster and faster. In other words, it's accelerating. It's if something outside the universe is pulling the universe out more and at an accelerating rate. That's what's interesting about this, and that's something that we don't really fully understand.
Well, then how can you calculate how far away something is? Do you have to base it on the speed it's going at the time of the calculation? So wouldn't it keep changing? Or is it not that fast?
No, actually, that's actually not a bad thought. Okay. It would actually be something that we would care about. You know? And that's why it's been monitored and consistently monitored over time. You know? What's it? Has Mark ever lost it on air? Or does he stay in Bob Ross research? Amanda has to answer that.
No, I'm not incriminating myself.
Oh, I hope it happens.
Hey, Ted. No, he said
really on air.
He wanted to know if I ever lost it on the air.
Not really on air.
No, I don't think
one time when Commander joined us and we were having some technical issues, we were pretty unhappy, but didn't lose it, just frustrations.
It's like, I'm going to lose it, you know, like King Julian there. Yeah, no, that's true.
Been a few times when your computer starts acting up, you get mad, but...
Yeah, I know. Oh, John, don't worry, I know you're kidding. I mean, but still, it's a good question.
I a flat earther.
Yeah, and actually, Tron Man, you know, the great attractor, well, yes and no, because we're seeing that the universe is actually expanding faster in all directions, and that's the thing that is kind of perplexing, because see, there's not enough mass. I was talking to Keith about this earlier. There's not enough mass for the universe to be as it is, and so we're trying to figure out where is that missing mass.
Yeah, that's what we talk about, people. You want to know behind the scenes, we talk about astronomy.
Well, you know, I mean, it is something we did talk about.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep, and this is
a topic of conversation.
Yep. Here's 3 galaxies.
Okay, can you say that part again?
Yeah, I know.
That end part again.
Who?
There's not enough.
Yes, I get
We
that.
haven't accounted for all the mass.
Yeah, see, the universe is expanding outward. The Big Bang required a certain amount of mass to even occur. But when we add up the mass we see, we don't get enough. So where is it? You know, what could have happened? It could have been...
Sucked in by black holes.
Well, it could have been that... black holes are, you know, collapsed stars of high mass. And we could have it in the form of dark matter. And the reason it's called dark matter is because we don't know what it is. It doesn't mean it's black. And we also have dark energy, which is an energy that we don't fully understand, but could amount to something like negative mass, which is a whole nother crazy thing.
Oh, you just opened up a can of worms. I got questions.
Oh, I know, but you know what?
Well, here's the thing. Being that you can say that everything is moving away from us.
Yeah, hang on one second. Cosmic, thank you for joining us. I'll see you later, and I hope you have a good evening out there in Arizona. I know that it's raining out there, and I feel bad for you, man, but you got one day of rain a year, you know. 300 clear days a year. I don't really feel too bad. But good night, man. Thanks for coming by. All right, go ahead.
Everything's moving away from us.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be possible, say, for a supercomputer or something to actually reverse the patterns being shown from moving away and actually pinpoint a place of the Big Bang?
That's kind of hard, because that's like saying, because of the fact is the universe isn't homogeneous. It's not the same everywhere. There was clumping going on when the early universe began.
I mean, was the Big Bang a 360 expansion?
Well, sure, but it wasn't the same in every direction. You know, the density was different else in different places, and we got this clumping that occurred both at the atomic level and then later on at the macro level with objects that were made of many atoms, of course, big objects. So when clumping occurred, that's actually what made the universe what it was. Had the universe stayed all evenly distributed, well then, I mean, no stars would ever exist.
But I was just saying, like, you know, you used a balloon as an analogy before.
Yes.
You know, as you blow up the balloon, you know, everything is separating, getting further away. So, but you would almost have to reverse that and be able to do that, no matter how much clumping, because it's all coming from a central point anyway. So if you say you had a supercomputer or something that could do that, you can take the movement that is, I guess, theorized, because stuff is so far away.
Yes.
And actually reverse that motion based on the data that we have now of its expansion. We can almost pinpoint where the Big Bang happened, like to a spot in our current space where everything happened and blew out from there. No,
it's not that easy, unfortunately, because we're riding along with it. We don't have all the absolute data for, you know, where we were, billions of years ago. And again, the universe, there's been a lot of changes. I mean, the universe doesn't just expand outward evenly in all directions. The stuff that retarded it from moving in one place is now no longer there. It's dissipated, and the thing is, the universe has evolved and changed. So
that's true.
The density, the density of the stuff in a certain region is no longer the same density anymore. So the way it expanded there is lost to time. We can't really tell anymore how that may have happened.
But you can tell how it's expanding now.
Yes, that's the thing.
So you take the parameters of what's happening now. Once again, it'd take a massive computer to do, and reverse that based on what we're seeing and what's happening now, and reverse it based on that data.
I think there's actually been studies to show that. In fact, they're trying to map the universe, and one of the things they found is that the universe doesn't look like what we classically thought it might look like. You know, the universe actually looks more like, believe it or not, a computer network. There's a lot of interconnecting going on in the universe. A lot of strange connections between massive objects, which is something I'm trying to just get a shot without the walking here, the drive. There's a little bit of a problem with the drive tonight on that, and I'm going to fix it. So we actually look at when we look at the actual map, it looks more like a connected network of computers. You know, where
seems legit.
Well, but what's that mean? What does it mean?
It means it's almost like its own neural network, because computers basically, same kind of layout as, say, like a brain. You know?
Yeah. And in fact, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. You know, and I don't know that that's necessarily untrue. I think there is a way to consider that as something that would be part of the overall equation. So I know that the universe as we see it now is not the universe as we saw it, 25 years ago. We're seeing it from a new light, especially when we start to go into cosmology. We start to look at the tapestry that is the fabric that makes up this universe. Finding the fact that there are interconnections, there are vast threads of mass and gas between galaxies out there. You're like, okay, let's use these three galaxies right here. Okay, now in terms of what they are, these are galaxies that are in Leo, of course, and these are, let's see, this is M105, NGC 3384, and NGC 3389. Okay, those are those three galaxies. Now, I don't know if it's true within these particular three, but I can just illustrate for you in terms of what we know happens. In some of these galaxies where you have these large galaxy groups next to each other, like this one, okay, not necessarily this one, I don't know for this. These galaxies look like three separate independent entities. Well, maybe they're gravitationally bound overall, okay, but what's been found is that there is a massive unseen connection between large groups of galaxies, possibly like these, and they are gas and connections of like gas and dust that bridge between the two galaxies, okay, and the three galaxies. That's something that has been shown to be present in some of these galaxies.
So it is detectable.
Yeah, and see what that is. What's that? That's some of the missing mass. Okay, it's some of the missing mass. But not all of it. It amounts to a very small amount.
So dark matter and dark energy has a role to play in all this as well, too.
Absolutely, dark matter is. Could that be some of the dark matter? Yeah, I mean, maybe. Dark energy is a very different thing. Dark energy has something to do with why the universe is expanding and accelerating outward as it is. It's almost like, in an initial explosion, for instance, when something's exploding, it initially accelerates outward, and then it begins hitting the wall of air what it's expanding into, say, and it doesn't accelerate anymore. It slows down. Then it gets to a constant speed, and then it becomes slower and slower. Then that shock front bundle, ends up crumpling up, and then it finally stops. But out in space, we're seeing that it's accelerating outward, even after 13.8 billion years. So that is odd. That's not right. It's almost like there's something sucking the outside of the universe out with it.
Well, we're about to learn a bunch more with those lovely 4 words.
James Webb Space Telescope. Yeah, you're right.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
James Webb is going to show us an awful lot about exoplanets, And by the way, there was an article that just came out.
Not just exoplanets.
No, that's true. But James Webb is good for more than that. But check this out. There's a new study now that indicates that we might have got it wrong about the number of habitable planets in our galaxy. And I have to vet this information to make sure that it's correct. But I've said that there have been as many as 40 billion. That's a very, very high-end estimate, very, very optimistic estimate. 40 billion other Earth-like worlds in our galaxy. That was the high-end estimate, and the reasonable estimate was 25 million to several billion, not 40 billion. Well, apparently there's data now that shows, and I'm gonna try and get this data verified. There's data showing that maybe we were wrong, and that we're looking at more like 100 billion Earth-like worlds in our galaxy alone. Yeah, and that's a pretty fantastic.
Well, I mean,
that'd be a fantastic outcome.
Once you start getting to 80, 100 million, I mean, is there really much of a difference?
Actually, yes. And the reason there is because if you look at the way life worked on this world, okay, here we had a number of worldwide global extinction events, and because of those, we exist and came about just the way we have. It didn't have to be this way. But see, like in the Permian period, 252 million years ago, that's when, the dinosaurs got their edge, because mammals were the dominant species at the time, believe it or not. Mammals like us. Trouble was, the Permian extinction event affected mammals the most, and that opened the niches for the dinosaurs to fill them, and that is for reptiles. And so early reptiles filled those niches, and that led to the age of the dinosaurs. That continued for 100 million years, several hundred million years, until 65 million years ago, the Chicxulub impact, that's CHICXULUB, Chicxulub impact, that formed the basis of another global extinction event that affected the reptiles mostly, and it favored mammals. And if that impact had not occurred, we would not be the dominant species on this planet. We would be something else. But because of that, mammals arose from these shadows, filled those niches left behind by the dinosaurs, and proliferated and created the dominant species once again. But it's important to realize, mammals were the dominant species 252 million years ago, during the Permian period, and when that extinction event occurred, they had to go into hiding, basically.
You know, one of these nights we're going to have to do just a whole show on time.
Oh, yeah, I've got some good stuff on that.
Just time itself. Because these, you know, it's like you can't really fathom, because these huge numbers are being thrown around, especially when it comes to astronomy.
Yeah.
These gigantic numbers are being thrown around.
Yeah.
And when you bring it back down to, well, that's only, 75 light years away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's only 75. Well, that's only 4.3 light years away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still a massive, massive difference. Just like you're talking about dinosaurs now. Well, that was 75 million years ago. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like time itself, it's gotten to a point where we have to reference it through chunks.
Yeah. I like this. Okay, look at. Here's this galaxy we just imaged, okay? It's the galaxy we just saw here. Okay, it's this galaxy right there. Let's just take a look at that one galaxy. That one galaxy, for instance, that galaxy right there is 26 million light years away. That means that the light we're seeing now left that galaxy 26 million years ago. So what's that mean? It means that when the light left the galaxy that we're seeing now, 26 million years ago, we had just come out of the Chesapeake impact and the Papagayi impact, which were two impacts that occurred. One was up in like Siberia, and then one was right near Washington, D.C., where it's known today. Okay.
In other words, saying at that time you wouldn't have seen this galaxy.
Well, we would have. We would have just seen the light from it that many years earlier. Okay, but that light train, when that light was first emitted that we are seeing today, California was separated from the United States. It was actually a rift of islands west of the Pacific coast. Okay. At the same time, South America was not connected to the North American continent via the Central America. That didn't exist. It was all ocean. The Mediterranean didn't exist. It was a massive, vast ocean above northern Africa that went all the way past and down the side towards Saudi Arabia, hundreds of miles. And that all closed up as plate tectonics occurred over the millions of years. The light we see today coming from this galaxy right there arrives at our eyes now. And during the time it took to get from there to here, Homo sapiens arose, because Homo sapiens didn't show up since like 4.2 million years ago. Okay, not Homo sapiens, hominids. All right, Homo sapiens was even more recent. So if you're looking at the fact that over time we're watching how the universe is watching us develop, suppose, let's say it that way. And so in the time it took the light to get here, an entire species died and evolved and rose to dominance on this planet and came into being. When the light left this galaxy, there was no such thing as a hominid. There was nothing like that.
Yeah. And as we all know, photons, they travel pretty quick.
Yeah. 186,282 miles per second.
Let me ask you a personal question. And you may agree with me, you may not, I'm not sure. But me personally, I believe that the fourth dimension is time itself. Well, what do you think?
It is, of course. And the reason they say that, of course, and I'm not saying making it sound like flippant, but no, we have three dimensions, X, Y, and Z, all moving through time, and time is that fourth dimension. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that is how it's characterized. It is a fourth dimension. When people say, "Well, we only have three dimensions," well, it's like,
well, people have,
only if you're
a problem
frozen
with that because of the way it steps up from to possibly what the fifth dimension could be.
Well, you got up to 12 dimensions too in string theory and beyond. So I mean, you've got in 10 dimensions. So you've got M theory, string theory. You got all these different theories for the nature of the universe, the fabric of the universe, how time could possibly work. And if string theory is correct, hiding within there, we might have some propulsion capabilities.
Think about it.
In science.
Think about it. Well, like the one dimension, you can still go a direction.
Yeah, one dimension
forward or backward.
Yes.
2 dimensions, you can still go,
yes,
directions.
Yes.
3 dimensions, you can go directions. What's stopping the fourth dimension from being able to go directions? back in time, forward in time.
Well, I mean, I guess it's
gotcha, science man.
No, because it's not that. I mean, because the question isn't.
Just say it.
The question. No, the question
Gotcha.
actually isn't helping me, because I'm trying to understand your question.
I'm just saying, because of the fact that you can move within dimensions.
Yes.
Each dimension. Why does the fourth dimension, it being time, only allow us to move forward and not backwards? So that means that somehow moving backwards on this dimension is possible if it were to follow the other three dimensions.
Yeah. See, I don't think it does follow the other three dimensions. Time is a human-created
But
construct.
why would it? The other three dimensions are showing us that it does.
Well, time.
So what is telling us that this dimension doesn't?
But time is a human-created construct. That's the thing.
No, time has to exist in order for anything to exist. It has to move forward.
But it's a human-created construct.
Yeah, the time of day, the time,
We created
how long things take.
Yes.
But things, without time, everything's on pause.
I know that, and so basically, but my point is, we constructed the way to measure time. The universe has a passage of something, a moment to moment that occurs in the universe is what we call time. We identified that.
Yeah, but we call that present time.
Well, we call that just time.
We can look forward in time.
Yes.
We can remember past time.
Yep.
But every moment is current. So, following the other rules of the other dimensions that we know, that we can verify, there should be, maybe just we haven't discovered it yet, a way to travel two ways on this time
I don't buy that, unfortunately.
dimension. Yeah, really?
Yeah, and the reason is because time is something that's actually it's fluid in one direction. Okay, it's not
That we know of.
well, yeah. I mean, I can say that we know of, but the fact is, there's a lot of problems with time travel. For instance, I love the
I'm not talking
paradoxes.
about time travel.
Well, actually, you are.
I'm talking about linear movement forward and backward.
That's time travel.
That is possible in the other three dimensions. So would you call, like say the first dimension line travel?
That's single dimension travel.
It would be directional travel.
Yep.
So in essence, if you were to apply the three dimensions that we know
Okay.
and apply the same rules to the fourth, that somehow, maybe we haven't discovered it yet, but somehow there is a way to go a different direction in the time dimension.
Yeah.
Because it's possible in the three that we know.
I think that, but you're equating them to be the same thing, and they're not.
Well, we do that with everything.
No, we don't equate time to be like an X, Y, or
No,
Z.
we do that with everything else. We look at what we know from other things, and being what we know about those, we apply them to things that we don't quite know yet. We're gonna fight on this, Dante.
I know, but see, but that's true. I mean, that's comparative analysis. I understand that, and that's a good thing to do. It really is. And yes, we're gonna fight
I'm
this.
just joking with you. I'm taking you to task.
No, it's okay though. But see, the thing is, we're not actually on two different sides of the equation here.
Okay, somebody in the chat has to have my back on this.
I'm just being very.
Anybody? No.
Give them
I'm all
time.
by myself.
They haven't even heard you
All
yet.
by myself.
I don't have extremely low latency. I have low latency. I don't have extremely low. It's not real time.
Yeah. The reason why I bring this up is just because I'm thinking that the possibility is there.
Yeah.
Because it exists in the other three dimensions.
Yeah.
So there might be a possibility that in this fourth dimension, what we are calling the fourth dimension, there's a possibility of moving within that dimension directions.
And I'm saying that I don't believe that the same physics doesn't apply to linear dimensions as it does to time. The first problem you have is when you consider time a linear dimension. In a linear dimension, you can move forward and backward. Okay, any which way you can do that. But with time, it's not that kind of dimension. It's like saying that you're going to use Jell-O to build the walls of your house, okay? Because Jell-O is very sturdy. Well, maybe in a particular temperature, at a particular temperature, Jell-O is very sturdy, maybe like at absolute 0, or maybe something like that, but every other particular temperature, it's not. Okay, so time looks like it may fit in to your construct here, but in reality, it couldn't be farther apart, from a linear dimension. It's not a linear thing.
But how do we prove that? What is your proof to show that time isn't a linear thing, besides observation at this point?
Well, all we have.
How do you prove that it's not possible?
I mean, it sounds like you're approaching a flat Earth argument here with me. Not the flat Earth argument, but it's like saying, show me the Earth is not flat, but don't use NASA photographs to do it.
No, I'm saying if you do it from a scientific standpoint and you see what we know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're adapting the fourth dimension as time itself, based on what we know about the other three dimensions. That you can back up or down in some of them. So why wouldn't it be possible in a time dimension?
I've been trying
to move forward.
I think I've been trying to explain that, and I think it really
not theorized.
No.
Why would it be possible?
Well, because first of all, we know that time, the measurement of time, is not done with a measuring tape, for instance. It's not done with a ruler. The measuring of time is done in a very different manner. So right away, we have different metrics for measuring time versus, say, a linear dimensional movement. So
yeah, but we did that for the third dimension too, between height and depth. All of a sudden, depth got added, which was not a measurement that was used in the two-dimensional.
Yeah. And by the way,
so we made one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I had to say to the folks out there, I brought the music up to be funny because Keith was talking. I was raising the music over his voice. So yeah, I apologize for that. Because we had joked about that earlier before we went on the air. But no worries. So the bottom line is that
this is why we need to have that time stream at one point, and we're gonna chit chat about it.
I think we should.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
It's a very interesting topic. I just don't think that. I think you're viewing time as if it's a linear dimension, and that's the problem. Time is not, a dimension, a linear dimension like measurements. It moves from one place to the next.
But you do measure time.
I know.
You do measure it.
We do, but we don't. What we don't do is we don't say that time is like a measurement on a board where something's 12 inches long. We can't measure the length of time.
Yeah, but we can measure time dilation from objects of mass.
Wait a minute, you're going down a whole different path now.
But it's still a measurement of time, correct?
Time
relative to gravity of mass of an object.
Actually, relative to speed.
So that would be almost like our up and down of a third dimension, or depth of a third dimension.
It's relative to the speed of a moving mass. That's what time dilation is like.
All right, I'll let you off the hook this time.
Well, no. I think what you should do is look up Lorentz transform, and look at what's involved.
I'm going to be studied up.
The Lorentz transforms have to do with the speed of an object, and that Lorentz transform, you can see how that will lead you to the time dilation. This is where the twin paradox comes from, but it goes only in one direction, though, Keith. It only goes one direction.
Now we know.
Well, that Einstein is that Einstein and Hawking. I mean, no one's ever actually said that, or shown in any way that time can go two ways. But that's okay. You know what? I just think that I think it's pretty cool.
And really, I mean, I know this is Mark's stream, but nobody has my back in chat. Nobody, really.
Well, I don't mind if somebody has your back.
Yeah, we do have to have a stream on time because I find it absolutely fascinating.
Time is fascinating, and the fact that we can't move through time except in one direction is very fascinating. But the Think about this. If you could go back in time, okay, let's say you could go back in time, because you are talking about time travel. If you shuttle backwards in a timeline, you go to an earlier time, what happens to all the events that occurred? Are they recreated? Do you create
exactly? Maybe we just don't understand the properties.
Well, here's the thing.
Just like traveling the speed of light, all of a sudden time gets diffused.
But matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay, it's transformed. What if you take your matter, what makes you up, every atom in your body, and you go back an hour? Now, if you go back an hour in time, right there's many, many violations of everything we know in physics and in the real world. Why? Because your matter has now been somehow duplicated at no consequence. And it can't happen in the physics that we understand. Let's put it that way. Okay? And just because I say in the physics we understand, it doesn't mean that there is a way that it can. I'm just saying physics doesn't allow for your matter to be completely duplicated at no consequence, because then matter would be created from nothing. And that doesn't happen either. So where...
Can I make 2 points?
You may.
One time you told me you could build a rocket ship to go so fast that you could turn around and see yourself making the spaceship.
See what?
But not kind of be like going back in time? See yourself building the spaceship.
Oh well, when I said, well, yeah, we were talking about doing that. No, not at all. We were talking about actually, just because you wanted to be. No,
I love it.
We were talking about the fact that if you were to build a spaceship and then travel out, say at near the speed of light, okay. Now what happens?
See you later, David.
David said no.
Yeah, David has a class.
Bye,
Oh, okay.
Have a nice day.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Dave, for coming along. That was very nice.
I'm from Thailand. Wow.
Yeah, Bangkok. It's like it's around 1 in the afternoon there, I think. So the thing is, if you actually had a way to get all the way out into space, say it took you, let's say you go out near the speed of light, and it took you 5 years, say, to go to Alpha Centauri. So you're really going close to the speed of light. If you look backwards, okay, if you look behind you, all right, there's the fact is time has dilated. You have changed the speed of time. All right, if you're viewed from the ground, from the Earth, it would look like you're not even moving. You'd be moving very slowly in the spaceship. And if you look back at the Earth from your spaceship, it would also seem like it was moving very slowly. But if you could actually go out fast enough and far enough, you could look back and see yourself building the ship before you ever left the planet. Before you ever left. And that's...
See, but that's crazy. That doesn't make sense still.
But that might just fall under one of the things of time we don't understand.
Well, no, it actually does fall under the concept. I think it's special relativity, actually.
Yeah, relative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't seize on the word relative and say that means something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on.
And my second point,
Yes.
when we look at stars,
Yeah.
aren't we looking back in time?
Absolutely. Well, for instance,
There's that time word again.
these galaxies. He hears time and says, "My point is made."
Well, she said it. I mean, you're looking back in time.
Yeah, I know, but that's back in time. See,
Back
like right here.
in time. back in time.
No, but that's only because of the light train. Like these galaxies, this galaxies here, these two galaxies. Let's see how far apart they are, how far away they are. Okay, these two galaxies right here. M95. Okay, is look how far away it is. Okay, if you look at its distance, all right, it is. Read that. 32 million light years away. Okay, so the light reaching us now has been traveling to us from that galaxy for 32 million years. Yep.
So where is the galaxy?
Well, right now, this galaxy, we're seeing the light. So 32 million years of movement has occurred to this galaxy
That's
since we've seen it. Now, the
A
galaxy...
million
Okay,
years
hold on,
seems to me
explain.
like a lot of time.
explain that part again, though.
Okay. When the light left, the light is a linear stream of energy coming from the galaxy.
Yes.
So,
and it's been traveling that far.
That's correct.
Since what?
Since
its
30.
creation?
Since it was emanated from the stars in this galaxy. Since the light that reaches us now from here has been traveling through space for 32.6 million years.
To get to us.
That's correct. So in that intervening time, a lot's happened here on Earth. I mentioned this before.
And it's been expanding. So it's even further away than that.
Actually, that's correct.
Its own time.
Right, it's gone 32 million.
So it's not basically. So it's to us, it's not observable time.
What do you mean it's not observable time?
Because we're seeing it from the past.
We're seeing it as it was in the past, but
there's something going on there now.
We haven't.
It's not gone.
Well, see, that's the thing. The galaxy is probably certainly not gone. There might be differences. Think about what happens here in our galaxy. We'll take, say, what happens over a period of 32 million years. Well, I'll give you an example.
Time.
Okay, over a period of 32 million years, that is a portion of the time it takes, for instance, for the sun to go around the galaxy. It takes the sun like 260 million years to go around the galaxy one time. So in that time that the light took to get here, the stars that we see here are probably going to be like here, or it'll be a little bit in a different spot in the galaxy because of the fact that they're orbiting the galaxy as well. So there will be differences. If we could somehow magically see the galaxy right at this instant, we would not see the galaxy exactly as it looks here. It will have evolved.
Yeah, we would be seeing it at its current point in time.
That is correct. We'd see it at its current point in time.
Not its past.
No, because the past is only, we're 32
The
million.
only thing
We're 32
stopping
million
us
years
from seeing
behind.
it.
We're 32 million years behind looking at this galaxy.
Yeah, but the only thing stopping us from seeing it at its current point in time is distance.
That is correct, and the speed of light. Yes.
Your Honor, nothing further.
There's not much else. No, but you're.
We're going to dive into time. I find this.
It is. It's very fascinating. It should be a good topic for a stream.
Don't think I'm joking. I'm bringing up.
I'm not. You're asking questions.
But this will come up again.
You're asking questions that I think are valid.
Oh no, I'm not asking questions. I'm telling you. There's a possibility. Okay, I'm not actually telling you, but I'm thinking that there's a possibility that maybe in some form or another it might be possible.
And
pettiness don't.
I'm not going to deny that it's possible that there's things out there that we don't understand.
I plead the fifth.
You need a lot more than the fifth. Maybe a fifth of vodka.
Please, the 7th and the 12th.
Yeah, right. You need a fifth of vodka.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Okay.
So now
that we all agree that time could possibly move both directions.
No, we didn't all agree.
What? I thought that's what we did here.
No, that's not what we did.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, because you're stuck in there. That's fair. You can be that way.
Fair enough. Seems legit.
And Keith, you're one of my good friends, so obviously, I'll let you have it. I won't ever agree with that. But
how often do we actually get into a difference of opinion?
Look what Dee Dee says. Keith is stuck. You're a record. You're a record. You're a record. You're a record. You're a record.
Well, just might be my time.
Oh boy. Yeah. He's stuck with the word time.
I know.
Time is a human construct. It's not a, it's something that we perceive, but it's not necessarily how the universe manages it.
It's about time.
It's about time we stop.
What are we taking a picture of?
Well, right now.
Why do you keep on going on about time? I've been trying to view galaxies here. You're just babbling about time.
And there we go.
Okay, well, I can't resist any longer. In about 3 weeks' time,
yes,
on Friday at 5 Eastern, I am going to be doing a theme, music with a theme on time.
There you go.
Are you really?
I already have it written, so this is just killing me that I couldn't
Well, I
promote
think
it.
you need. Of course you can. Go ahead and promote it. I mean, and you should, of course,
He was
Songs
inspired
based
by
on
time.
ticking
Yeah.
away the moments we spend in a dull day. Time by Pink Floyd. You gotta have that.
I do have that.
Nice.
I was just about to say.
All right.
Nice. Your voice must be feeling better. You're singing to us.
Not very well. Here's
Well,
here's
you
here's
sound
three
better.
galaxies.
Key was all right, but he was kind of out of time.
Keith is funny. Funny guy.
What we looking at, buddy?
These are three galaxies that are sitting out there in time.
Oh, the same one?
We got 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, God, he has lost a galaxy.
No, I didn't. I just
How
saw
to
that.
misplace a galaxy.
No, I have not lost a galaxy. Yeah, no, but these are. Not sure what these are. These are these galaxies here. This is NGC 3686, NGC 3684, and NGC 3681. And we should be able to see 3691 in the middle over here. So let's go back and check that out. It's there. It's right here.
You know what? How about this thing about gravitate? Never mind. That we'll save that for the.
What? What's that? No.
No. We'll save it for the time stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move us up just a little bit because I want to actually.
This is some nice astrophotography you're doing tonight, sir.
We're having fun. We're just looking at the deep sky.
I know. Looks good. You're lucky. You got some nice clear skies tonight.
Well, that's a relative term in
Yeah.
time.
See, wasn't even me that time. See what I did there?
Yeah, you went down time, Tim. Tim made some time.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a 20-second shot at 20,000 seconds, 20,000 ISO, so 20 seconds in time. So we're capturing 20 seconds of the light stream hitting the Earth from these distant galaxies. You know? Yeah, there we go. So now we have this galaxy here. We have a galaxy here. Galaxy here. Galaxy there. See, 4 right there.
Boy, that's a pretty uniform shape.
Yeah, I mean this is actually, well, they're in 3 dimensions. So like, I'll show you what I mean. We go back and look at these. Okay, we see that. Okay, NGC 3686. Right, this galaxy is 79 million light years away. This galaxy next to it is 82 million light years away. This one down here is 78 million light years away, and then this one here is probably 100 million light years away. It's farther. So you can see that in 3 dimensions, these are not laid out in the same plane. They're actually quite distant from each other, you know, in that regard. But that's really an interesting set of galaxies, I gotta say. You know, really neat stuff. And I like that you can see these details in these galaxies very nicely here. Okay, this.
Can you zoom in anymore?
Oh yeah,
on
sure.
like one of them
Yeah, I
to
could.
take an exposure?
Oh, not
Or
to
would it
take.
be like too much noise? You think?
Yeah, not to take an exposure. I mean, I could actually. I need pixel coverage, so what I have to do is use like a lens to double the size of what I'm looking at, for instance. Okay, but what bothers me, or not bothers me, but what I find fascinating is, we got this galaxy here, this one here, this one here, and that one there. The sky right here, there's 4 big island universes right in this one view. Many of which these are probably all around the same size as our Milky Way. Maybe a little bigger, a little smaller, or a little smaller. But these guys all represent potentials for life elsewhere. And we're looking at it, and you got to wonder, is there someone in this galaxy right here looking back at us right now,
Sure.
saying, I wonder if there's anybody out there. I wonder if there's anybody out there.
There's probably some idiot on there wondering which way time goes.
There could be someone having one of those fanciful arguments, yes. Without a doubt. Okay? But this is just Leo, and we haven't even started to poke around. I mean, we got so much going on here.
There is a lot in that constellation.
Let's take a look right here. Let's go and check out these galaxies over here. So we're moving over here now. And I think as we get to this location, we will find that we have another thing. And I gotta make sure, yeah, I think we're here. Let's just back over here. Let me make sure my telescope is stopped. If it's not, I'll stop it. It'll stop, and now I can actually take the photo. And I'm going to do it at 25,600 ISO, a little bit more. One more stop of sensitivity. Keith, you see what John Osteen says?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he responded.
Make the professor pop.
That's so funny.
I'm serious though.
You know what? But I'm not flappable on these things. It's only when people are truly, ignorant of science and don't want to hear it. And Keith's certainly not that. But that's the only kind of time that I would actually think that people have an issue.
I'm just trying to apply what we would do, say for, say like we do when we search for life. Like we look for stuff that we know.
Yeah.
That's then based on what we know about the 3 dimensions we live in,
Yes.
the 4th one might have similar signs. Maybe we just haven't found them. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
Yep.
That's pretty clear.
Yep.
Pretty clear.
Pretty clear.
Yep. And as you can see, we've got several galaxies here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're so small. They're little smudges in the sky. 5 right there. We got all these.
Would you know they were galaxies without having looked first?
Yeah, I probably would have known because they have this outer area that's
Little haze.
diffuse. And this outer diffusion, nebulae would show either as blue planetaries or reddish, or blue reflection nebulae. So we would know these aren't just nebulae.
I wonder when the first time they made a telescope was that wasn't like a handheld spotter scope. When they learned to actually do the focal points and everything like that.
Oh, I mean, Galileo and Isaac Newton did that. I mean,
what size?
Galileo's optic tube, his telescope was a small refractor. Newton's was a reflector, the Newtonian reflector, actually.
Well, I read something about a guy using like water as a magnifier or something like that. I could be wrong.
I kind of remember it had to be. I think it was spinning, wasn't it? Wasn't it like a very?
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Yeah.
But he was able to do it and actually image Jupiter.
Yeah.
And he actually drew it. Like he drew this round circle with lines going through it.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat how inventive they were back then.
Yeah.
Just because of the drive of astronomy.
Yeah, I agree.
Took these guys once again, lit the fire.
Yep. Charles Smar said something cool. He said,
"Good night, Dee Dee. Have a good night's sleep."
Oh, okay, Dee Dee. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you joined us. And don't worry, Keith's okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
He's fine. He's a good guy. I don't know.
Tired of being right.
I don't know.
What can you do?
Yeah. That's funny.
What was that noise? My ego just exploded.
No, that was the shotgun.
Yep.
He flies back into the.
Don't worry, we'll get into the whole.
Oh, we need to. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotta go through that. And I'm okay with that. I think we should. So yeah, so these are nice. These are Leo galaxies. Yeah, let's go.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is. And let's go back to this now. Our view. This guy. Now let's pull out a bit and see what else we've got going on.
Giggity.
Giggity. Well, giggity, giggity, goo. All right, and then we have NGC 3649. Right.
Hey, is it true they're going to point James Webb at a dark patch of sky as well?
I would
Will it ever
imagine.
do the exposure like Hubble did.
I would imagine to do a dark sky, to do a deep sky. I mean, it's
Yeah,
going to be.
Imagine what that's going to pick up.
Keep in mind, James Webb's doing infrared,
I know.
and so infrared, of course, is heat. But you know what? We can generate imagery from infrared images, obviously. So we can see visual light images. We can make them into that.
See you later, Tana.
Tana's heading out.
Hi,
Yep.
Tana.
Okay.
Wow, it is 1:30 in the morning. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be closing down here soon. I just didn't want to waste the
Where
night.
did the time go?
Probably in the forward direction. It went in the forward direction. Only the forward direction. So let's just check this out. Let's go and head here and see what we got. I know that there's plenty of stuff going on here. Now I know that we continue to move around, we get our things going, we get our telescope pointed in the right direction, and then we can just stop and take a photo. And let's check it out. Yeah, I mean it is kind of late right now. If you look when we look at the planetarium program, you'll see that we have the spring constellations up now.
Yeah.
We're taking a photo here, 25,600 at 20 seconds. And it will
So what makes
show
you decide of the
momentarily.
ISO? Like, do you have just a pretty good grasp of since you've been doing this for so long?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, I don't.
Just through experimentation, you pretty
Yeah.
much know.
I know what we need to show it off. I mean, and that's the way it works. Unfortunately, you gotta go with what you know.
Right. I didn't know if there's like certain parameters, like like okay, well we need to stay in these certain things for galaxies or these certain things for nebula.
Yeah,
you have like a certain range of ISO in mind.
Well, you can do this. See, the ISO, as we know, makes noise, and so when you zoom in, okay.
Right.
Look at this is noise, okay. Now, when I digitally process later, I remove all this noise. All this noise goes away. It's like a veil that's blocking our view of this beautiful galaxy right here.
It's
Okay.
like sheer.
Yeah, you can see there's a dark lane in this galaxy right here.
Yeah.
And this exposure's got a little bit of walk to it. I gotta redo this. I'll do it right now and just get a good shot. So we're doing it again while we're waiting for it to come in. I'll just go back to this. So you can see.
So for people that don't have the equipment that you have,
Yeah.
but say they have a telescope and a pretty good camera,
Yeah.
do you have any recommendations for them when it comes to settings for, say, photographing galaxies or photographing nebula?
Well, if they just have a camera and no telescope, then unfortunately the only galaxy open to them is the Andromeda galaxy.
No, I mean if they have, say, they have like a small telescope, like a 4-inch scope or something like that.
Okay, well then the telescope's going to have to be driven. In other words, it's going to have a drive.
So it has to be able to be tracking for anybody
Yes,
listening.
it has to be tracked.
So you don't get the trail lines.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now, sometimes people like to shoot star trails, which is cool. That's when you just leave it stationary and let the Earth spin and
Yeah.
the sky move above you.
That's true.
But if you want to do astrophotography, a tracking mount or some kind of tracking, they do sell non-computerized where you can set the speed. Well, they used to. I shouldn't say they do. They used to, where you can hook it to a tripod and it'll actually, you can set it to a certain speed to kind of track the Earth's movement.
That's right.
But I'm not. Do they make those anymore? Probably. I would guess they would have to still.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you have a really good camera with a really long exposure, like some of the Canons are known for doing
Yes.
outrageous exposure times, but
Yeah.
you have to be dead on when it comes to the tracking and the Earth speed and
Yes,
everything
you
like
do.
that to really get really good pictures.
Yes, you do. Very true. And if you're not, well then, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. So where we've been here is we've been hanging around Leo's butt. That's kind of where we've been.
Okay, you say butt, and I said pee-pee earlier. Now, what's the deal?
It's the butt. So I want to do this one. I want to try this one and see if we can grab
Pee-pee.
this location.
Good night, Cherry.
Jerry's leaving us.
Good night, Sherry.
Thank you
Good
for.
night to Ted, who left earlier.
Oh, and Ted.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
night,
guys.
Ted.
Ted is gone already, isn't he?
Yeah, he just said goodnight up the chat a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for coming along, Sherry. Now let's see. Let's get the telescope. Check it out. Got that going there. Okay. And now we can take a photo here. There should be about how many galaxies in this one view? Oh gosh, we're gonna have a lot. It looks like
7.
Oh no, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, this area is just hoarding of some galaxies.
Yeah, this is Virgo, I think. We're seeing interacting galaxies here in Virgo, I believe. Let's see what this star is.
Bit of buffering going on.
No, we don't allow buffering.
Yeah, well, you know what? Your coder is overloaded, so you might want to turn down your video.
What do you mean, my coder?
Your encoder's overloaded.
Where do you see that?
Right at the bottom of your OBS.
Here?
To the left, all the way to the left. Down there. See that?
Oh, yes.
Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings.
Well, what would I do to turn down video settings?
So you just go into settings and go to video, and let's see where you're at.
Okay, we're going into settings. Pardon me, folks, one moment.
All right, go up to output. On the left. There you go. And you're at what, 3,000?
Yes.
Okay, go back into, or no, wait a minute. Go to, go up to general real quick. And okay, go to stream. That's all good. Output, once again. Encoder, you're good, you're good. Oh, you know what? It doesn't give you the option for your encoder, does it?
Maybe it's under advanced.
To switch it to your speed, your encoder speed. Usually they give you a fast, very fast, where it takes less of your computer and it does it more of it.
I mean latency versus...
But I don't see that on yours.
Yeah.
Go to video tab again, real quick. Yeah. For some reason you don't have that. Interesting.
Still buffering? Amanda?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good now.
Let's see here. I just clicked the live button. I'm not even getting it. Let me just do a refresh here and see what we got.
Well, James mentioned it was buffering, and when I went over, it was buffering. Then it came back for like half a second, then it went buffering again, but it looks okay now. William says his can't go any lower, and it's still buffering at times.
Yeah.
So just be aware.
Yeah, it's something to do with the encoder on Mark's end. Usually after a certain amount of time. Mine does that too sometimes.
I don't know. When they say turning down video settings to make this not do that, well, how do you turn down video settings? What does that mean?
There's an encoder setting, and for some reason it's not showing on yours.
Well, then we just weren't looking in the right place.
Well, that's exactly where mine is. It's on the video tab.
Okay.
Go to
Well, it
settings.
says consider turning down video settings or something, but I can't see what the rest of that thing says.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything there. It just says or, and this was like a section of a...
It probably says or faster encoder, which is where that option would be. But go to video again. Why do you not have it? See, usually it's right. Okay. Also, resolution. Yes. Okay, go to output.
Video output is currently active. Please turn off any outputs to change video settings.
Go to output tab.
Oh, maybe you have to have stop streaming.
No, because
to change it.
and put enable advanced encoder settings. Click that. Now go down to there and try super fast. Now apply it. And I hit OK.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Your CPU usage should go down.
Well, the CPU's at 23%.
I'm just watching your clock on the YouTube feed.
Okay.
And it's going 18, 20, 21, 22, 23. Uh-oh, looks like it might have stabilized. Seconds are ticking like they should.
Because that's time, you're going to say? While we're waiting, take a look at all these galaxies.
Just skip 36.
All of these little smudges are galaxies out here. It's pretty good. There's one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's many, many galaxies. You know, just amazing.
Yeah, let us know in the chat if you had F5. Just let us know if it's a little more stable now.
Charles Smar, there'll be none of that smar mouth.
Not sure what that means, John.
It's all fine on another stream. What's that mean?
I guess he's saying it's not a YouTube problem. Yeah, we know that, but I didn't see your encoder thing pop up since you did that, so.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I mean...
See, when you're encoding, or you're going 30 frames a second, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're encoding 1080p, it does, especially for a while, sometimes you just need the software to do it instead of the hardware.
Yeah.
You know, it helps you out a little bit. Now, you do lose some quality, but not a lot.
Yeah. But I think I'm doing okay now, yes?
Yeah. I mean, clocks on the YouTube feed is going pretty steady.
Okay. Tom says it's good now. Fantastic. That's all the goods. Thank you, boys. And the peoples. Now, let's see.
Excuse me?
Boys and peoples, I said.
And girl.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. So Leo requires a lot of extensive visitation. It'll be fun to go in here. Yeah, there's a lot of galaxies that are really interesting in Leo. Amazing stuff, man, I tell you. So let's go there. Let's go check that out. I'm really pushing it because the dome, it may end up interfering. You know, the stars are going by.
Get that nice red hue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, when I see that, it means we're done. I'm going to close down shortly because I do want to, I still have to go out and close it all up and everything. Okay, 20 seconds at 25,600 ISO one more time. Let's hope that it doesn't look like I'm interfering with the dome at the moment.
Okay, you're overloaded again.
I see that.
Turn down. So actually, we should probably make your computer do more of the work since you're only running at 23%.
Okay.
So go back into them settings and go to the output.
Okay.
And then go to your tab, your encode preset.
This one?
Yep. And then just go down to faster. There you go. Now apply.
And that's the computer that's going to do that work now?
Yeah.
Are
You're only using 24% and 22%. So you got room to let your computer do some of the work.
Okay.
Let's see if that helps.
All right. We shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Once again, we talked about this before, Mark. Every little thing doing these streams is one little feckle thing can just.
You can see these galaxies here, and another one here.
Yeah. Let's see. Drop. Well, you only dropped 138 frames.
Which really is nothing.
Yeah, it's like 0% of the stream, but.
Yeah. That's a total accumulation.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think I have to give my voice a rest anyway.
I agree.
So I do want to thank everybody for coming out and checking it out. And I will be back the next clear night. I've been getting a good amount of streaming in lately. We've been starting off the day with high cirrus clouds, and then the night ends clear. I like that trend, so we'll keep it up, and I'll keep you posted on the dome rotation system. I'll keep you posted on the rolling observatory system, and of course the permanent installation in Arizona. That's going to be happening at some point in the next year and a half or so. But you know, it all takes time to put this all together. But I am very happy that things are progressing. Keith, I want to thank you for coming on with me tonight. Amanda, thank you for joining.
Not a problem.
And for all of you listening and contributing, thank you so much for all of your thoughts and your ideas. It's been fantastic, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk again in the very next stream. So, from Amanda and I and Keith, we're gonna say, hey, keep looking up, and we will talk to you again. Have a good night. And just remember, as Amanda says, I'll say keep looking up, and then Amanda says,
Except while you're driving.
Except while driving.
Giggity.
Thanks, guys, and good night.
Later.